All right. The which one?
The one that was kind of like a war
Oh
theme to
no,
it.
no. We're. I needed. It needs to look right. So we were gonna do that this year, and I'm bummed out because some of the ones that helped me write it won't be here just to help film it. But we want to nail
Gotcha.
that right. You can't have you if the trench literally doesn't look right, it goes all out. So maybe next year we just need to figure out a trench. At first we're like, let's
Yeah,
just dig one, and then we're like, hold on.
I'm kind of bummed. The place I graduated from with my degree, they're doing so. The class every year, right before graduation, they do like a big like
maybe
portfolio showcase for everyone, family, alumni,
so we
whatever.
were gonna do that.
And then
The
later in
one
the
that
day,
was
they do
kind
a
of
film festival.
Right.
I think they have like 2 to 4 weeks to film it, whatever. Go through the whole thing. It's been years since I've had to do it, but I'm kind of bummed I don't get to go to it because those are usually pretty fun to go to.
Yeah.
See what those folks are making for hours. We did I think the one that we did was we did like I forget the name of it, but we we like basically followed a leaf around. It was
I
it,
I
it was
like
just whimsical. It was kind of like your video, following the kid around, doing like just going about, doing just floating about, and just, except I think we had some wind and like whimsical music, and I remember. I remember it like pissed some people off because it was just not a movie. It was just like a not movie or short
uh,
film. My bad.
um yeah, I thought I was hoping, and I don't know, I have a lot of ideas, but I need to cultivate the group that I want, right? I need to weed out the kids that don't want to be in there, which is fine. Um
the absolute fucking posers.
no, just
Yeah, the
I
fucking
mean
dorks, dude.
sometimes kids get thrown in electives you don't want, right? And you just like, yeah, I don't want to
True.
be here at all. I'm not offended or anything.
I had this fourth on my list.
Yeah. Um
Yeah.
it happens. But I uh I wanted to do a like a game jam for a movie. I thought that'd be a fun idea. Like a 48 hour, like get it done in 2 days. Whatever you have it's done. Um
Yeah, we did that in class too. Except it was a 48-hour film festival, and pretty much there's two buckets, pretty much with a bunch of topics,
ooh, and you gotta
and we
pick.
had to
Okay.
pick. Yeah, so we had to pick from each, and so it just give us a random thing, and it didn't matter like how big of a thing it was. It could just appear in it. It could be like mentioned dialogue. It could be all about that thing. It just had to be involved in your film somehow.
I might just do that with
That,
them next year because they struggle with ideas sometimes.
hmm
Um
Because I think one person had like pineapple, and it was just like in the setting scene, like it was in a kitchen or something like that. So it's like, yeah,
yeah. Um welcome to the Blueberries Podcast, episode number 252.
Yeah.
I'm Adrian. That's David. That's Kels. We're
Hi.
talking movies, so we're gonna segue into that before we go off the one of those like talk for half an hour before introducing. Um, yeah, so uh, film fests are fun. So I did that. It went off all right. Like it wasn't a huge turnout. I was expecting that, right, for the first one. But I'm hoping to build that up year by year. I think now that the kids understand it. We'll talk about this because we're getting into a topic for the first time on this podcast, so I'm excited for it. But there was for the one that you guys actually watched, the first night they had no one there, and I was upset at them. I'm like, you guys gotta have someone here, especially for one like that. You gotta have someone here. So I emailed all of them, like, y'all
Yeah.
get someone here. And the actor, the main one there, he showed up the next day and he apologized. Like, I was supposed to be here last time, but I couldn't. And but then he was up there all alone getting interviewed, and there's two chairs there, and there's the interviewer and there's him, so it's four chairs, but those two are, and he's like talking. And he's a very quiet kid. In the I guess last year before me, he just never talked, and everyone was even shocked. Like he's actually acting in this one. That's crazy. So he's up there. He's like super shy, but eventually kind of got his mojo. He's feeling it. The crowd was the second day was a lot smaller, but we had just the thespians. Just the thespians showed up, so it was like almost like a private little crowd of thespians that were like heckling the MC and everything because they knew him. But they were getting into it. They were getting louder responses for parts, and um, at one point it's like it's just me because no one else showed up. It's just big me. It's big me here, and we were like, yeah. And I recorded that night, and I showed the crew. I was like, look what happened. He talked trash to you guys, and he got the reaction. So everyone was against y'all, and everyone's like, damn. All right, I guess we gotta show up next year so we can shut him up. But you guys got actually like, come on. Um, so yeah, so that was good. I I I had an epiphany though. I realized because they asked like, what stuff have you guys worked on before to me because one of the films that I put on the list is something that I made. I just directed it. I pulled two kids aside and got a few more to help, but that was mine. In which case, that got finished editing an hour before the show started. Um, it was export there, and then one other video on there got done 10 minutes before the doors opened, which was unfortunate. And I was like, I was running around everywhere. And they go, the guy asked, "Is do productions come out like that? Kind of just like last second?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's always how they come in." Shout outs to Across the Spider Verse getting done the day before. Um,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Or even like the big one I go to is South Park. It's not that way now, but I believe they've streamlined it. But they have like the whole like a docu about it because they used to make their episodes.
Yeah,
like 6
the
days
7 days to
Yeah.
air.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, they always come in like that. So that was that, and then they were like, "So what have you produced?" Or I was like, "Well, I was an extra in these other movies." Okay, but then I was like, "You know what? I realized that was my first production I've ever filmed since high school, which was my extremely cringy video from high school." And they clapped because I was like, "You know what? I think that turned out pretty all right for my next one up there." And the crowd was
Yeah,
clapping. I was
cameras
like,
are smaller since then too, aren't they?
"What was that?"
Cameras are a lot smaller now too, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think I used a flip camera.
Oh shit!
Remember
Yeah,
those things?
back in college, we used like the big ass. We had like Sony camcorders, and they had like the big.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you got trained on the real shit.
Yeah.
No.
And nowadays, it's like, oh, my phone can literally shoot better than that, and it probably has more memory.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, no, cameras I think phones are totally fine. We do have some cameras now
no,
just
for
to make
sure.
them because it adds uh substance to it,
Lenses.
right? Like
Yeah.
you when you're carrying an actual camera versus like a phone. If you're holding a phone like this, it's like you can record doing anything, right? Even
Well,
adding
that and like there's some things that you just can't like really replicate without a lens. I guess
yeah.
is like the big thing.
Yeah, you have to add like a filter, but like even adding gimbals to phones though can make the kids feel like, oh, this is something different.
Official. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think in high school I used either a flip cam that I stole from my mom, or I remember I forget what it was. In my camera, I think my like someone cleaned my car or something. For some reason, there was a camera that showed up in my car, like a regular camera like that, but it could record video, and I used that a lot. Quality was okay for the time, but I was a kid that bugged everyone. I would record everything, and you guys remember that Sir Evan's cameraman on YouTube back when?
No.
Yeah.
Sir Evan's cameraman, he would go around just recording people, and the first episode he kind of talked about how he's like he has like a thing about it. He's like, well, you guys are recorded by like Sir Evan's cameras all the time. Why does this bother you? Okay, that was that. But the next time, like next 7 videos, so he only made 8 videos. And he dipped from the internet, but like next 7 videos were just him, just recording people, and just everyone would get fucking pissed. Like he's just trying to fight them or like chase them and stuff like that. I was like that in high school. I would record people and people just get mad. So I was just giving them a taste of what the future was gonna have, you know. And they didn't, little did they know they'd be recorded every single day of their life. But anyway, yeah, filming and stuff is fun. I'm enjoying it. It was cool because like this step, ironically enough, made me feel like there could be a route in my future where I do deviate a little bit and do a film thing. I always tell everyone, I'm like, I tell all the kids too. I'm like, look, the only thing I leave for is I go make a movie. I make like 2 or 3 movies, and I come back. I think I'll be done after that. I'm not built for Hollywood, right? I don't like the idea of having the pressure of always having to write stuff. Shout out to Tarantino who just scrapped his 10th film for whatever else he's gonna be doing. But
He was wanting to do Star Trek, so
Star Trek.
that's my
the
pie in
fuck?
the sky. Yeah, that's like a big like want on his list. He's a big Trekkie.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's wow. but yeah, I've it's like it's the smallest thing, right? But like being able to like it's fun how like I got in my own head about it too, which is kind of cool, right? It's like I bought $150 director's chairs. I got 4 of them, so they're like the nice ones. Everyone's sitting on there. I put my my prom suit jacket on, which is kind of fits as any kind of jacket. I had a just in the mail that day. I got my my Hideo Kojima Death Stranding A24 shirt. So I put that underneath
Hell
it.
yeah.
So I looked hella professional on that. I was like, oh, dude, you know, I look like a film guy, dude. It felt pretty good. But like part of me just up there for like a split second had like a, I think this could be a potential sometime. Um, I know A24 has been roaming around the state. And I have a thing where I'm like, I have a script. I have a full script ready to go, but I don't feel comfortable submitting it. I need to rewrite it. But like A24 is the only one getting that. I'm not letting that go to anyone else. It's like I would only trust them with it. But
Dude,
also,
Neon.
huh?
Neon. Have you?
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
watched any of their
They're
shit
not
yet?
bad too, but A24 is like my dream studio. Um, and
That's the one where you know your vision will be protected at least.
enough, right?
I don't know. Look at
yeah.
Alex Garland. He had all those AI posters for Civil War and shit.
Oh wait, what happened?
So Civil War, the movie that came out recently, like I guess all
Yep.
the promotional like posters for it were AI done,
Oh,
Ooh,
and a lot of them were really fucked up.
fucking hell.
oh, oh. You my
And I guess after that he's came out and said like he's like I don't know how you put it, but he's like over filmmaking now, and he's like taking a break from it.
yeah.
Uh, so I wonder if like that movie broke him or something.
I'm not sure. It's also that pressure, right? Just having to keep making,
Oh, for
keep
sure.
making, and then just like kind of
Yeah,
having
because,
like.
he did Ex Machina, Annihilation, and I
Mm.
forget what else he did.
But those
He's
are the
done, like, one
three, his
stint.
trifecta of ones
Yeah.
that he gets kind of pinned for.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah. Ooh, Uncut Gems soon. Uncut Gems soon.
Hot
4 more weeks.
jobs.
I wish I could have saw Ex Machina in IMAX. That was one.
Oh, that would be phenomenal to see that.
You want
in
to watch a
IMAX.
man want to fuck a robot?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Still want to. Um, Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, what are you doing to that robot?
Proving it.
but I know like Netflix is around. Ari Aster's down south in my state doing Eddington with Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, and I forget who else.
I think it got announced he's like working on another one too, like concurrently. He's doing like an animated project, I think.
Did you watch Beau is Afraid?
Oh yeah,
How was it?
I liked it.
Okay.
I feel like I'm the minority though. I really enjoyed it. Although I'm like if a film can pull me in, it pretty much has me. Like, and Beau is Afraid definitely did that. It pulls you in hard.
Okay.
But it does get really fucking weird. But
I-
I'm all down. For
I'm
that.
all for weird movies, dude. Like Mother, people hated, and I get that it was very religious at the end, but I mean, like, I was in on that. I was fine
Was
with
that
it.
Jennifer Lawrence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men got really
think-
fucking weird by the end of it, but
I like Men too.
yeah, we do.
Although I really like the actress. That actress was.
Yeah.
She's been in a few other things. She's really interesting.
Yeah, if the movie got me. If you get me in the beginning, I'm down for however weird you get. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if everyone has a lot of stuff in the chat, let me go with some of this. Random question:
Yeah,
Does
so
anyone?
Beau was Afraid I'd recommend.
I have it. I just haven't watched it. It's on the list. In fact, I have something else I need to show. I think. David, do you mind reading that first chat for me, Bernie?
All right, sure. Let me pull up the chat here.
Here.
Random question: does anybody know any good animation-related documentaries? The closest thing I can find is some animation YouTuber. Oh, that's a good question.
I would say if you have it on Disney Plus, there are a lot of really good documentaries about like the Imagineers, or like pretty much the people that built Disney into what it is now. A lot of it covers like old and going through, so it covers a lot of the different animation styles. Highly recommend that one if you're anywhere interested in like just the art form there. It's really good, but I'm not gonna tell you to go pay for Disney Plus just for that.
There was also a interesting one. I think it was called The Never Ending Man. That was a documentary on Miyazaki. And I think there was like another one that was like something amount of years with Miyazaki. It's fascinating watching stuff with him because the level of shitbag he kind of is fascinating and wild
Yeah.
to see when he's fucking masked off.
He's an
There,
angry old bitter man, and I love
he's
it.
an angry old bitter man and like an absolute piece of shit father.
Yeah.
There was one I can't remember which of the two it was, but in one of them they have a clip of him basically dressing down his son for Kingdom of the Earthsea, basically saying he's a shit animator and he'll never amount to anything for it. And how
Japanese
he
culture
dare
is
he
wild
basically
sometime like that though. Like they
It
like
really is.
they will like get into you for stuff like that. But I
Yeah,
mean, like,
even just like my grandmother, she's removed from it, but she's still like hearing some of the shit that she would say to like my parents
yeah,
or people like their age. She's softened up like a lot. So like she never like talks like that to me or like my siblings or anything, but I've seen how she treats other people when they make her mad or slightly
it
inconvenience her.
it it goes to show when someone's so good at their craft, but they're an asshole, but you like, I don't know, like I mean, unless it's like dire working conditions, you know. You can't really just knock someone for just being an asshole because you know they're good at their craft, right? It's like while they know what they're doing, they do it well. As long as you're not like making them work overnights for a year, you know what I'm saying? Like, or not
I
even.
mean,
Or
that's the
less.
fun part. It's the Japanese animation industry.
Yeah, they
Of course,
actually.
they're
That's
overworked.
Japanese
to death.
people
I promise
just
you
they
that's
all work.
happening.
They all work to death. Um,
They literally have a word dedicated to the act of dying at work because
Yep.
you're so overworked.
yeah, and then didn't they say like at some point like almost like taking a nap or falling asleep while working is almost seen as like a cool thing because like oh he's working hard, he's tired.
Yeah, it's considered more respectable to pass out at work than to leave on time.
Shit, I'll just do that right now. That's fine.
Yeah, and the other day at work, I was explaining to someone there's this thing called window watching. It's when at work, like instead of firing you, they'll take away all your duties.
Yep, that's what they did to
work can be done.
Kojima.
Yeah, and
Yep.
they'll just put you in a room and just have you watch a wall all day. It's like, oh, you want to threaten an American with that? Be my guest, dude. I'll do so much other shit.
All right. Does anyone know any good animation related documentaries? The Sweatbox. That is the hard to find documentary about Disney, how much they hated Emperor's New Groove in the making of that.
Huh.
They fucking hated it. They did not want that to exist.
Pepperoni mentioned two movies specifically that I can't wait for: Cuckoo and the horror movie with Nick Cage. That one's called Long Legs.
I'm so behind on movies.
Uh,
I need to start catching back
yeah.
up.
So Cuckoo had its debut at wherever the movie festival down in Texas was, and apparently it's
South by
decent.
Southwest?
It's like
No, it's not. Is that?
yeah, I
Oh,
think
is it?
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's with Hunter Schafer. She's like the lead role, and then Longlegs has had like a weird, really good like marketing campaign. Definitely recommend looking into that. They've been putting out a lot of like really spooky teasers, and I didn't even know Nick Cage was in it until here recently because you can't tell. I don't
All
know.
right. Good for Nick Cage. He's really getting out there right now.
Yeah.
I think we've already mentioned this, but on Late Night with the Devil, did you also laugh at how many studios were involved in the production of that at the beginning, where there was like 6 or 7 of those production things at the beginning? I think because you watched that, right?
I have not.
Oh, you
I
didn't
just
watch that?
downloaded it, and I'll be watching that within days. So
Okay.
I'll have that under my belt.
We there's like, you know how they do like the Blumhouse and then this, they always have everyone's logo and they'll do that. There was like 6 or
Yeah.
7 of those in front of Late Night with the Devil. At some point, it's almost comical.
I watched the Red Letter Media thing about it, and I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that was funny. Neon's also one of the studios that's jumping up there though. That's looking solid. So I still have my pride and joy still A24, but I'll pitch everything else in Neon. Let's say that. Not that I have an ability to pick and choose. Do you think Bo's Afraid is a horror movie? I heard a few people debate that.
No, not a horror movie.
Okay. Thriller.
I wouldn't even
guess?
call it I wouldn't even call it a thriller. It just has like suspenseful moments,
Suspense.
but it's like a drama kind of.
Okay.
I'd call it a one-man play. I think
That's
that's the
fair.
best way to put it.
Yeah. So it's like Bo Burnham's Inside.
Kinda, yeah. But you do have other characters, but they're very. I don't want to spoil anything.
You had Sako in Insight though. That's not a character.
That's true.
So-
Yep. And I guess by proxy, the other white women on Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Give myself how much credits there were at the beginning. Yeah, you get it. That was fun movie talk. There you go. We're branching out.
Also, real quick, 2 more notes on the animation side of things. I do recommend. There's also a documentary about Anno, the creator of
Yes.
Evangelion,
I
that
was-
the NHK did. So the actual Japanese broadcast casting.
Oh, is that what the NHK thing
Station.
is in the anime you made me first watch?
Yeah, the Nippon.
Welcome to NHK.
The actual. It's like something broadcasting station is like what it actually is, but in the world of the anime, it's the Nippon Hikikomori Kyokai. So like a scheme to go ahead and get shenanigans to happen.
Fun piece of deep lore is I'd never seen an anime all the way through, so I asked David to give me one. He just tossed me that one. I was like, this is an interesting.
Gave you
first
One Piece?
Yeah,
No, I
Oh.
no, as his first real exploit to anime, I recommended Welcome to the NHK.
It was very interesting of a first pick. Some of my,
You know what? It made sense with your taste at the time.
I
Building
didn't not like it. I thought it was good. It was just
Building off of David's Anno recommendation, I highly
Yes.
recommend if you're interested in like the animation side of it, watch like the special features and like the building of the rebuilds for Evangelion. They are amazing. It's so cool to see how they like go by and like frame by frame rebuild actually the old I think they draw over like the old animation cells, and then on top of that they do like 3D elements
Oh, that's cool.
for like everything too, so you get to see how it like transitions from the 2D into like the new 3D like workflow that they have. It's
That's pretty
insane to see.
sweet.
It's so cool.
so you go ahead, David. No, I'm gonna go off.
No, I was
topic.
gonna say, and real quick, I also have 5 YouTubers I do recommend for animation history stuff. One is Kenny Lauderdale. Highly recommend his content. He does a lot of like obscure deep dive level nonsense, like old 70s anime thought lost to time, and just kind of unpacking the history of how it leads to other anime today. Highly recommend him. I do also recommend Toonrific Tariq. Does a lot of Western animation content. Same thing with Saberspark and Shady Durags, another fantastic Western animation content creator. And lastly, the biggest known of all of them, but still a good sort, especially with a lot of his more recent content, Bennett the Sage. Do recommend a lot of his more recent stuff. A lot of interesting deep dives.
That I don't know why, but oh yeah, it does because that being my first one, it made me think of how my first I have a lot of weird firsts. It's that, and then my first PS2 game being Drakengard. I guess
It's a weird first.
it is a really weird first game. I on Friday I left Denver at 4 a.m. and hauled ass and made really amazing time back to work on there. I walk in, there's the person that was watching my class was like fiddling around with my guitar, and I'm just like, oh hey, what's up? I'm here. They let me keep them, which is cool. I'm like, cool, I can have the EA there while I run around doing everything else. But they're like, hey, I was meaning to ask you, who draws your drawings on your board? Do you do that, or the kids do that? I was like, oh, the kids do that. They're like, oh, the kids like just like draw whatever they're into. I'm like, no, they kind of drew a lot of those on mine. And then they look at they point and they're like, oh, I was gonna say because that looks like a meal. And I was like, I put my hand up. I'm like, brother, this is a lunar tier. Let's talk about Nier for the next 10 minutes. And we did. I was like, yeah, went to the concerts, got another one. Good times on that. But I did mention, I was like, yeah, that's why I mentioned. I was like, yeah, my first PS2 game was Drakengard. They're like, what? I'm like, yep. I just needed to go through the history of that. All right, I kind of want to jump because I have a lot of stuff scattered. There's a couple cool things I bought.
Hell yeah.
Also, David, I want to discuss it with you as well. David and I have mentioned this, ironically enough, weirdly enough, David and I mentioned this maybe a month ago or two, tops 2. There's no way more than 2 months ago. We mentioned this, and this is never available, but I got an email.
Yes.
I got an email saying, and I get a few of these, and they're never right, but I saw this, and it seemed like the price was a little bit high, because it started at 30. It's no longer 30. I'll mention where it's at right now.
No.
It started at 30, and I was
it
like,
is not.
I thought it was a buy it now at 30. I've never clicked something faster in my life, which was a good thing it wasn't a buy it now at 30, because that would have been gone by the time I got to it. But I got an email notification for an I Love Bees DVD. Near mint, tested. It's on there. It is currently at $415.
Sheesh.
David's
I'm
eyeballing
still
it.
contemplating it.
I think we
Yeah.
need to, David. Like, we should. This doesn't happen. This does not happen.
The only thing that's giving me pause is literally my car registration and sticker are due next month.
I'll pay that back. I will like.
You still owe me for the tickets, dude.
I do.
Fucking give me your Clock Tower collection. Fuck it.
I did get a little bit of money. Not much. Not much. David trounced me on the tax return bracket, but I don't know.
The joys of buying an electric car.
When does this happen? Hold on, I'm gonna look up the next one. Your boy was in New Mexico last week. I loved it. Nice. Where'd you go? Just all of them explained to me. It's definitely a unique experience for I Love Bees. I Love Bees. Okay. Oh my god. I've had the I Love Bees thing on my search for probably a solid 4 or 5 years right now, and I've seen it available way back when, and that was it. And I've actively been looking for it since. Like, it's so far back that it's not even under, like, I think it's hard to find even under sold listings.
Also, real quick, to Backy, no, that was Crazy Pepperoni. I think the most modern ARG that was a lot like that was the one that happened for Gravity Falls. I remember that one being a massively involved treasure hunt.
There's a few of them, but I would love to deep dive ARGs eventually. White Sands.
The most recent one I can remember is Overwatch. They did that with
Sombra.
Sombra.
Yeah, the one that lasts far too long.
Yeah.
White Sands, Carlsbad, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Truth and Consequences. Nice. Hope that we're all good. I've yet to go to White Sands. I want to. Same with Carlsbad. Albuquerque, Santa Fe are always a good time. Truth and Consequences, I've never stood in. I've just driven by it. David?
Real quick, that reminded me. Anything come out yet about that whole inside ARG that's going on?
No. For the viewers, there was I got randomly hit up a while back. We're talking like 2019, I want to say.
Like near the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah, near-ish. I got hit up randomly by someone on, I forget if it was where it was specifically. But they messaged me asking if I had the Inside Collector's Edition, and me being the weirdo that I am, did have it. And they asked if I still had all the stuff in it, because apparently there was an Inside ARG going on, but they had like given every collector's edition like specific letters and stuff to follow along with it. So I had to dig that thing out and find. I found like a letter or two. I forget what I found, but I sent that over to them, and they were like super grateful for that. I don't know if that. I don't think that the collector's ever sold out. So I'm not sure if that would ever have been a thing. But I don't know where that went. I noticed Discord the other day. Never looked inside of it though. Dude, we had to do it though.
It'd be interesting to go back to our roots and do a few deep dives.
There's stuff on that DVD that I forget that I think like you can actively like. I think it has like I don't know. There's like it's got everything. You're talking like the web archives, I think too.
It's interesting because I looked online because part of the reason I was good.
I want to say just to do that because you might be actually alluding to my point. If you get this, obviously I want you to have it first to rip everything. That's ideal thing too. Like rip everything, have that shit like pristine and lock that thing down for all that data because that's all you.
And that is what I was alluding to is like I've seen that people have ripped just the audio and just what little video is on there, but no one has uploaded the whole raw ISO. Yeah, no one just has the raw ISO on.
David's gonna be David's gonna be the knight in shining armor of the internet now. You might make the
I
Kotaku
mean-
rounds or something like that if you post that up there, just like actively uploading all that stuff on there.
I mean, it would probably be catching more popularity than when I uploaded the Shin Megami Tensei Devil Children Ice Book prototype.
How'd that go?
There was like 5 fucking articles written about it, but all on like super indie sites because who fucking cares about Shin Megami Tensei Ice Children Devil? So yeah, but yeah, you know,
I'll pitch you like.
I
if-
have to ruminate.
Does it
on
help if I need to pitch you like $200?
I mean that just makes us
Even for
square
that,
for the tickets.
I know, but
Yeah.
I was trying to wiggle some payment room, but I'll pitch you some money.
I think, unironically, I think what would kind of make that square is basically we do a tradesies where if I did grab that, I would be like, all right, now give me that Clock Tower collection.
Clock Tower is a lot just because it hurts when it's a full collection, David. That's the thing. When it's like a full like trilogy of things, that's when it hurts.
But does it bring you joy?
Yes, 'cause I like having completions of things. Completing things is my favorite. Like that gave me a lot of joy to have. And I do know that one's worth a lot more just being that I think it's got the registration thing in it. I don't know why that amplifies the value so much.
'Cause most people just rip them out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you get Japanese import games with the spine cards.
David, if you grab that, we'll figure out. So obviously, we'll figure out something. But
Yeah,
I-
I'll ruminate on it.
let me know because we got till Sunday. Yeah, till
Yeah.
Sunday. Let's talk Sunday. And if I need to pitch you some money ahead of time, I think the girlfriend saw how crazy I was about this when I like freaked the fuck out for a second, and we were eyeballing getting that life size slowpoke that popped up, but I think we're gonna pass on that then.
I mean, unironically, if this had happened as soon as my income tax came in, this wouldn't
Oh,
be
yeah.
a conversation. I would have just got it.
That's fair.
But
I will pitch you money, and I'm probably gonna be going for it myself. Just depends on. I'm hoping that peaked. I'm hoping.
yeah, I think that might be the thing. Is I might like hold on to like my max ID, and I might try to snipe and see what happens.
I just don't know if 415 from 30 is a lot, and someone just like hopped that. That's why. So it's like, let's see, the bids went 29, and someone just bid an extra $1. And shout out to that guy. Someone immediately went in, popped in 150, 155, 250, 300, then 400, then 410, then 415. So after seeing as it like popped from 410 to 415, I have a feeling that it might have plateaued. Hopefully, I can't see it going like $700. That'd be nuts. But I want it.
I mean, I fucking want it too. Yeah, let me ruminate on that.
Here's the thing, because like genuinely, even if I were to win it, I'm still gonna send it to you right away,
yeah,
go
just
rip
so I
it,
can rip it and then
send
yeah.
it back to me, right? So it's like at that point, I don't want to like double send that thing, especially through the wonderful mail system.
That's true.
Multiple times over, having to send from them to me to you to me. That just sounds atrocious for this kind of for a CD, a DVD. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. So we'll figure something
All right.
out.
I gotta pee real
That was
quick.
fast.
Y'all continue ruminating on this while I ruminate on my urination.
No, so while he's gone,
Time.
something big
Oh, it's a shirt
happened.
that he has.
Something big happened.
Oh, you talking about Tarkov?
Yeah, Tarkov.
Imploding?
Yeah.
I have like 3,000 hours on that game, so I can talk about that for days if need be.
an old. Does he have a new chair? I don't think he has a new chair. I think it's his usual chair.
No, I was talking about his shirt. His shirt looked fire.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, dude.
Nice. Never thought there would been bounty for an I Love Bees DVD. That's could be convenient to have. Yeah, they washed, like they just dried up. There was like they've been gone. Never heard of Tarkov situation. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to talk about while David's gone to get some leeway on this. I was gonna post. I had a feeling, dude. I was gonna post on like Monday. I was like, Kendrick's dropping this week. I don't know why. I was gonna post. I swear on both my cats live, I was gonna post that because I had a feeling. I knew it. I was like, Kendrick's gonna drop this week, and I just knew it. I don't know why. I just knew. I was like, this. I think this is enough time that has passed now. I think if you waited one more
think-
week, I think at that point everyone's kind of like looking at him like, come on, bro, like something you can't send the first shot out and then not be ready to fire back after 2 of them, right?
Right.
And so we got it back. Euphoria, you heard it. What'd you think? Let's talk music and hip hop for a second. Because holy shit, that's not happening on this podcast. Oh,
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
versed
No,
on
I
all
had
this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Dave's gonna have no idea what we're
Yeah,
talking
I'm,
about.
yeah, I'm balls deep on it. Yeah, no. So whenever I first heard it, like
Oh my god, you
it
don't
literally had me from the start. I'm a K Dot fan in general.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like,
Same.
over Drake, over Cole.
Yep.
So I was anticipating it. It was one of those things like, okay, when's it coming? So the first thing, like, I was scrolling through Twitter this morning right after getting to work, and I noticed DJ Academics posted something. He said something like, "It's been this amount of days," like alluding to since
Like that?
Drake dropped his shit. Yeah,
Oh, since
and
Drake.
literally like right because DJ Academics is a Drake dick writer. He has a sound clip where he's just screaming Drake's name over and over. He's like really weird about it. But anyways, I feel like that summoned him
Yeah.
because like I feel like an hour or so later, like my phone starts blowing up. I look on Twitter, like every other post is about Kendrick, even from accounts that like I feel like would not be like involved.
I was
in
waiting
it
for
at all.
Wario 64 to post it or something, dude.
Him or like Nebel comes back just to say
That'd be
something
sick.
about it.
I randomly scroll through Twitter every once in a while at work. If I'm like, all right, I have a minute, I'm just gonna give a quick timeline
Right.
scroll. Cool, done. Scroll through, and I saw someone I follow just go, "Yo, K-Dot's on some shit right now. Hell, that was fire." I'm like, bro. And I look, my eyes weren't glancing at the trending because who the fuck cares about trending? I look over, I see Kendrick Lamar trending. I'm like, oh shit, it's dropped. This is it. Middle of class, and I'm like, low key, if it wasn't so late in the year, I'm not personally opposed. I mean, I probably get in trouble, but like I could probably make an argument out of it. I could probably just like throw on Kendrick's like diss and like make the kids analyze it. Like fuck, it's English class. What the fuck?
Yeah, linguistics.
Exactly. A lot of these kids want to be rappers, but like you got to know like your way around words like to an extreme degree. Like you can't just like not like that there's like triple entendres on there and stuff like that, which I'll use rap a lot for that. I'm like these guys are like on it,
Entendres, references back. It's so awesome.
right? But yeah, so that drop. What do you think of the track?
I thought it was good. I think the track is re-listenable, and that's a big thing because
Diss
if,
tracks are
like, I
usually
go
not.
back, they're usually not exactly. And I feel like whenever I'm listening to the Kendrick track, it feels like I'm listening to like I feel like it could be cut from like an album or from a side B or something. I feel like it would work cohesively within an album. So I feel like it's something I'd come back to. And I did. I've listened to it like 2 or 3 times since, like just to fully intake it and see what I may have missed the first time.
Well, that's cool too, right? It's like not even the beat, but Kendrick stuff is not something you just like throw on once. Kendrick stuff, I'm like, all right,
Right.
you got to get your nice glass of whiskey on the rocks. Get your
Yeah,
reading
it is
glasses
almost
out.
like
You're
an
like,
art- it-
all right,
It's almost like whenever you're trying to intake like a movie that you know needs that sort of dedication to it.
right,
Like whenever you go to watch like a Scorsese flick, you know there's gonna be filmmaking there.
right.
Whenever you go to listen to a Kendrick song, you know there's gonna be artistry within like the music making, whatever the fuck you want to call it, musicianship.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah, I'm
and
with you.
Drake's Drake stuff is just poppy. Like it's like all right, it's fun to listen to, but even his diss tracks just don't hit. There's like all right, he's going for a whole different vibe on that, which I'm like I appreciate you trying to go for something that's cute, but yeah, no, and his whole thing, it's so funny because like all he is like just about oh I got so much fucking money, I got so much money, I got more money than you, and I think what was it Rick Ross's in Champagne Moments. Did you hear that one?
Yeah,
Yeah, he-
I love because I also seen like right before Kendrick dropped it, Metro posted something too. He said today's a good day or something like that.
Oh, you know. And yeah, Rick Ross being like, "Bitch, I know you got more money than me. We both got a lot of money. What you want me to say?
Yeah.
The fuck?
We're
We got
both
millions.
multi-millionaires.
Like, what the fuck? Like, oh no, you got this much more million. I'm still on a fucking mansion. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
At what
What
point
you
is it like,
flexing on me for?
yeah, what does it matter? before we go there, let's see. A person, I'm not a huge fan of Kendrick, but the songs I've heard from him are pretty good. Kendrick has some bops like I Good Kid, Mad City. I love that. That's like one of my favorite albums.
Kendrick's weird because he's not like your traditional like rapper in the sense of like what today's rap is. He's always, I feel like, trying to push the envelope a little bit. And each album has like a different tone to it. It's not like you're not gonna each album's not gonna be like a banger after banger after banger like of your typical like rap like sequence, I guess. It's not your radio rap. You're gonna get a lot of jazz, you're gonna get a lot of soul, you're gonna get a lot of funk in it, but you're gonna get some fucking good ass rap as well.
Yeah, it's not stuff you go back and re-listen to constantly, because it's like it's digestible, but it's like it's not like there's a handful of tracks, but some of them are just like so deep and dense and like kind of dark that you're like, ooh, that's not like no one's replaying like Duckworth on repeat constantly. I feel like, right? Like it's telling a story, but it's not a bad thing. And yeah, his albums.
It's so funny to see like where he's come from, like swimming pools to now.
Yeah, right. And that was actually I was because I had so much Kendrick stuff on there. Hive Mind's Kendrick Breck came up there, and they mentioned how it's funny how swimming pools is like the party anthem, which is so funny. Just like it shouldn't be. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah, no, it's like the opposite.
Right. David, how are you enjoying this talk so far? What do you have to input?
Oh no, I was talking with my partner because Funko released a shitty looking game that I'm gonna have to buy because it features the cast of The Mummy in it, and my partner and I both adore that film. It is a very important film to both of us. So
Let us know how that is. I started this cough. It sucks.
Yeah, I just don't see how Drake like especially with how the song ends. How the fuck do you answer back to the song? There's no like, what do you say to that? Because so for the people that haven't listened, and I guess for
how about let's give a quick summary because we're talking about hip hop.
Yeah, so
let me give David the one. All right, let me give David the one. All right.
Yeah.
So I you know of Drake, right? Everyone knows who Drake is. He's one of the biggest.
I know the name.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not asking you to know the music. I'm sure if you've heard something, you're like, yeah, I've heard that somewhere.
Probably not. I can almost guarantee you I've not heard.
No, I'm not. But like in passing, like in somehow, some way in a movie or something, you would have heard it. But
yeah, Drakengard.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Drakengard. I'm very familiar with Drakengard.
But anyway, there's that. You know the name Kendrick. I don't know if you know who J. Cole is. Yeah, I didn't think you did. But in hip hop right now, there's like 3 top names everyone kind of rotates around: Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole. All right, they've been throwing on that, and the long history is that when Kendrick got started up on the scene, Drake was kind of there, like get him into the shows and all that stuff, and help him out there. But like real quick after that, like they kind of deviated. Kendrick was like not about that. Like you were 2 different people, right? Like you could tell at the bat that Drake is more like flaunting his wealth, like like money and good times, and Kendrick's like
they're very much from 2 different
worlds,
places.
Wasn't Drake also the one that like went fucking insane and went full MAGA for a while?
That was Kanye.
Right, that's Kanye. Okay, yeah, it's Kanye.
But Drake was on Degrassi. He was like a child actor.
Oh shit! Okay, yes.
Meanwhile, Kendrick
was in Compton.
Yeah,
saw his first murder at 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's the songs.
Right. Kendrick's like on that shit, right? And between the 3, J. Cole was like born in Germany too, so it's like Kendrick kind of holds on to that. Like I'm built here, right? Like
built different.
Yeah. And so they've been and so anyway, they're 2 different people, right? And so like Drake never understood why Kendrick just didn't like him. He's like, I just don't fuck with you. Like I just don't. And so a couple years back, there was like some very slight back and forth stuff, but there was a song from Big Sean called Control. Kendrick had a verse in there where Kendrick went off. He was killing it because Kendrick's a great rapper. He was killing it, and hip hop's always been like a competition thing, right? It's like East Coast versus West Coast. It's like who's got the most people, like all that kind of stuff, money and stuff like that. It's always a competition, and that's kind of the spirit of it, right? And so Kendrick's on there dropping it. In the middle of there, he just drops everyone's name that's kind of like around him right now. So like J. Cole, Drake, Wally, then the people that he was on the track with him. Like he called out the people he was like rapping alongside with. Like he'll get props to people. Like he's interesting. Kendrick's like the greats of the past are kind of like untouchable to him. So he's like Pac, Biggie, like Jay-Z, Eminem, Andre 3000. He's like those guys. They locked in their stuff. But people who are living right now and in the game right now, y'all are up against me.
No
Like, you're my
prisoners.
competition.
Yeah.
Right. And so he calls them out saying, I love you guys, but I want to murder you guys. I want to make sure no one ever hears a word from you guys. And every other rapper took that as like a compliment. You're like, oh shit, all right, Kendrick, you want to like compete for this shit? All right, cool. Drake got hurt. Drake was really upset about it. He's like, I don't know, man, it just didn't seem real. I don't know how you're gonna drop that kind of verse and like give me a hug over here at this thing afterwards, something like that. He
Is
says
he a
it.
bitch?
He says it in the track.
Yeah.
He's like,
100% a bitch.
he's like, I got love for y'all, but I want to murder you. Like this is the competition. This is hip hop, right? And that was kind of flavoring because people have been saying for a while, hip hop is kind of boring. Everyone's kind of like just coinciding and shit.
buddy.
Yeah, everyone's like, where the fuck is the beef at? We got to have some sort of competition here, right? Like there's no, everyone's like all happy.
Yeah, even Nerdcore has fucking beef.
Right. So that happens, and back and forth, there have been just like jabs at each other. Now I'm gonna be fair. Kendrick hates sneak dissing, but he's a little too subtle on his disses sometimes too. But Drake is a big sneak disser. He will sneak diss everyone. And so they go back and forth. Then about a month ago, there was a song from Future and Metro Boomin called "Like That." Just popped out of here, and Kendrick was on it. And for the first, actually, let me rewind one a little bit. One more time, rewind. J. Cole and Drake are just really buddy. They're like really good friends. They're always rapping together. They're huge, top of their game, right? So it almost feels like
They're on tour together here recently too.
on tour together. And then, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think I now finally remember what I also remember Jake from is when Amanda Bynes, wasn't she the one who was like, I want him to murder my pussy on Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah,
You know him.
I know.
Which
these
she
things.
knew that he had a big dick, because that's the most recent meme about Drake too.
Yeah, his dick pic
I
leak,
still
right?
gotta watch that fucking Nickelodeon documentary. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
They have a song together, or first person shooter. They're kind of going off, and they call J. Cole calls them the big three. Like everyone's always talking who's the best among the big three. Is it me? Is it Drake? Is it Kendrick? He's kind of like on
Clearly,
the
it's Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. That's the big
Yep.
three.
and he's kind of like just like again. There's like a lot of camaraderie around that, but Kendrick's like, I'm not trying to be your best friends or shit. Like I'm trying to like compete. He's like, I'm the best. So he goes on that track like that, and for the first time in a long while, since Control, quite honestly, he just verbally calls out Drake and J. Cole, the other two top dogs in this race. He's mostly Drake. It's like J. Cole's got a couple of jabs in there, but he's like mostly gunning to Drake. And he's just saying like, fuck you guys. You guys aren't this. We don't have this big three shit. It's big me. And everyone's like, just go, like, he's just going about that. Like it's a great track. Track's still like popping off, which is great. It's a club banger. That happens, right? Everyone's like, oh shit, we might have a war on our hands. Everyone's getting hyped up, right? Everyone's feeling good. And then but people are kind of going out there, like, and it's funny because I was like, all right, Drake's not gonna do shit. Who the fuck cares? J. Cole though, J. Cole's been talking up his shit. He's like, yo, no one's going after me. I'm the best rapper. I'm like, no one's gonna get shit on me. And so everyone's kind of talking about this thing, like, right? It's like, it's almost like let me put it in your phrase, like when people are like rumbling, like Justin Wong and like all that, you know, like they're saying like, oh, they're gonna finally like do this, but then so J. Cole drops his album that just happens to come around right now, and at the very end he slaps this song called 7 Minute Drill. On there, it's just a full like 4-minute Kendrick diss, and it was all right. Like it had some jabs on it that I was like, all right, cool. Like it felt more like warning shots. That's exactly what it was, right? It was like he was like, chill, otherwise we're going out. Like this is like he's like, this is the warning shot. I love you, but also you had that thing where I don't like people who do that. Where like, oh, you're the greatest, but you have some shit that sucks. It's like, all right, bro. Like,
The only thing is what happens next takes away so much
Yeah.
heat, and it's like,
Yeah,
all
so-
right, you're really a bitch.
so here's the next bitch move, David. All right. So now we have
All right,
two
so
sides.
tell me how this person was bitch made.
Yeah, you're gonna think this. No, this is next level bitch made. All right. Okay, Kendrick shoots the first shot. Right. J. Cole
Yep.
drops track at the end. All right. Lets it brew for 2 days. All of a sudden, at a live show, he's talking to his crowd. He's like, "Hey, y'all, thanks for love. Like this new album dropped. I'm so proud of it."
Wait,
Except for
specifically, who's at the live show?
J. Cole's doing it. J. Cole is
Okay, so J. Cole's live show. Okay.
yeah, and he's the one that dropped that track just now against Kendrick.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love that album and everything, but you know what? I don't love one part of it. That track was whack as fuck. I feel bad about that. He's like, Kendrick, I'm sorry for that. I'm removing that off the album. I'm not about that life anymore. Like, I found myself. I found some peace and love. I'm not trying to be like that. That shit was whack. That shit was sorry. We're taking it off the stream. I don't give a shit. Like, he was apologizing. He threw out a jab back and apologized immediately afterwards. Now, here's the thing.
Jesus.
As
Yikes.
a person, I'm like, cool. If you found like self, peace, and love, and you're like, cool, I'm not trying to like beef with anyone. Okay. But like, take yourself out of the equation. You are no longer talking like, you can't back your shit up. Don't talk that game anymore. So you were like out of the equation
At that
now.
point, don't say anything. Just be like, all right, I've said my piece, and then you move on.
Yeah. So back out. Like you're not
Yeah.
even said your piece. Like you have made a track that you instantly regretted. And
Yeah,
like
that's what I mean. Like,
apologize.
use that track as saying your piece, and then move on. Just
Imagine you
never
get into a
acknowledge.
fight, David. You punch the guy. He didn't move,
No,
and
no,
you're
no,
like,
no.
"My bad." That's what it was. So, like, on one hand, I'm like, I'm glad you
Fucking hell.
I'm glad you found your peace and all that, but like, take yourself out of the equation. You are not in this equation anymore. No, J. Cole said that. Drake, out of nowhere, everyone's like, all right, so is Drake gonna step up? Drake stepped up. He made a track called Push Ups, and a lot of it, he was like kind of talking shit about everyone that's talked shit about him. Like, everyone kind of had sly shots at Drake this entire time, and Drake, to his credit, kind of like addressed every single person in the room right there.
Interesting.
He
Okay.
had, he had a line saying, "Yo, what is it, like a 20v1 or something?" And he was talking about how much bigger he is than everyone else, and like, all right, cool, like whatever. You got your like, it was an all right track. About what, like less than a week later, he had this thing called Tailor Made Freestyle, where he used his voice to rap, and then he AI put Tupac on top of him, and then put Snoop Dogg on top of him, both kind of taunting Kendrick to drop something. And then he rapped at the end. So people were kind of mixed on that. They're like, yo, that's a bit disrespectful to Tupac.
Yeah, I'll say also, after Kendrick dropped the initial diss track, like Twitter and like social media kind of lit up with a bunch of other rappers kind of coming out saying, yeah, fuck him too.
Yeah.
Like Rick Ross with a big one, he came out and he was like, yeah, fuck Drake. And there's a bunch of other like bigger.
It's
to
starting like
smaller,
almost like a civil
medium
war
size.
where everyone's like, all right, let's step
Yeah.
up, let's do this.
Yeah, they took sides. It really was. It was Cap and Iron.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So I'd actually be curious if, like, either during this or at some point later on after the podcast, if y'all could send me like in
track list?
chronological order the diss tracks, that
Sure.
would be
Oh, yeah.
actually kind of neat to go through.
Oh, that would have been a
Um,
fantastic video to make.
That would.
That's fine.
I like,
'cause,
you
like,
know what?
honestly, the only like
I realized this really quick to interrupt you.
Yeah,
I
go
thought
for it.
I thought you were gonna zone out for a second, but now I had the epiphany. I'm like, this is kind of like wrestling to you. So now you're like, oh shit, all right,
Yeah.
hold up.
They're just
really
literally
is.
wrestling promos. So I mean, like, all right, you kind of got my attention.
Yeah,
Also, in the segue I was going to use is like, you know, I'm no stranger to diss tracks. As my favorite diss track happened back in like the 2010s, I think it was. Wait, breathing is hard. Anyways, when the nerdcore scene had a big old flat fight between two members within a subsection of nerdcore, and maybe Kells is this deep in the rabbit hole. But back when we had a battle between Chap Hop and T-Core, between Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer, and Professor Elemental.
See, I've heard of Elemental. I haven't heard of the other dude.
Okay, so TLDR there. Both British get both within the nerdcore community. Professor Elemental does more like 90s style rapping. Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer, does more like banjo lyrical kind of just style songs. And basically, they had a big old slap fight for a while that ended in them actually having a rap off, which was actually kind of cool. But Fighting Trousers was the big old silo shot from Professor Elemental, and genuinely, that is a savage fucking song. Do recommend if you're like, all right, I'm in the mood for like a re-listenable diss track.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like in this situation, I'd want to say Kendrick's the heel here, just because he's calling everyone out first.
But he
Because
can
he's-
back it up though. That's the thing.
Right.
Also, he's not
yeah.
wrong though. Because it also
Yeah.
it's all kind of fake friendship bullshit. And just like fuck that. Let's get this going. So Taylor made freestyle, right? We're using Tupac and Snoop Dogg's AI voice over Drake, and then Drake is
I want to say I want
That's
to say a
fucking
family
cringe.
even threatened to sue him. I feel
yeah,
like
the
one of
Tupac
families,
what do you call it?
estate.
Yeah, they would threaten to sue Drake.
Yeah,
like-
that's fucking cringe, bro. I'm gonna fucking call
yeah,
that
people
one
were
right
half and
there.
half.
Well-
Where it was clever because Kendrick obviously Westside and like loves like looks up to Tupac. Like it was clever in that like it was Tupac like mocking Kendrick like, hey, come on, man, we gotta kill this Canadian. Like Drake was kind of trying to do some 4D chess where he was like dissing himself as like Tupac was dissing Drake. And Snoop was dissing Drake, trying to get ahead of the game, right? Because when you're doing it's like 8 Mile, right? It's like when you're doing like
Yeah,
when you're doing rap
I was about to
battles,
say, it almost kind of
you
feels
gotta
like an
diss
Eminem
yourself.
kind of style.
you gotta diss yourself to
Yeah.
get ahead of it. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna add, it's also really important context because it does come back later with Kendrick. It's
Yeah.
something- he addresses it.
Kendrick kind of like stomped all the fires out that they tried to start there. And so that was there, and it was just Drake just saying like, come on, when you gonna drop? Like, come on, do it. But I will say, you mentioned earlier that you don't know what Drake's gonna say at this point. The way Drake is talking, it's like he has some dirt, like right, like he's kind of popping out. He's feeling himself enough where everyone's kind of alluding to some dirt, which just I don't know. Like to be honest, like the way it seems to me, it sounds like some P Diddy situation where it's like someone's gonna get outed as doing that, which I feel like
Kendrick kind of insinuated
Yeah.
that with the song.
So the song. So today, Kendrick drops Euphoria. Right now, you think of the name like that. It's like it's the track title or the track art is like a definition from like Webster. But Euphoria also being a show, the show that Drake is executive producer for. That's all about that. That's very heavy in the teenage sexuality.
yeah.
Okay, you two now talking about something called Euphoria makes a lot more sense. Because where my brain immediately went, I was like, there's no fucking way Adrian is talking about how much he enjoyed Euphoria. Because absolutely fucking not. Because what I think of when I think of Euphoria is one of the most fucked up fucking hentai games I have ever experienced in my life.
No, I mean, genuinely, you could have been talking about the show and had the same kind of argument there because it is
I
about.
didn't know there was a show called Euphoria.
Yeah, it's a show.
It's like Degrassi that's rated R, or it's sometimes rated like.
Oh, so kind of like a
X.
Shameless kind of thing or something like that.
but like
Kinda.
very hyper in drugs and sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a shit. Okay,
Yeah, and I've it's A24 produced too, so it's like I've been wanting to watch it. But also being a teacher in that realm of stuff, it's like stuff that I'm like, I don't think I want to like see the world. But anyway, there's that. Kendrick goes off, like he says a solid like 6 minutes, just kind of running down the ladder of just like, all right, here's everything that happened. Shout out to J. Cole because J. Cole got jabbed still even after apologizing. Kendrick's like, all right, hold on, let me hit you a few times too, just to check you.
He's like walked by and slapped him in the face on his way to punch Drake. in
Yeah,
the
he's like, why
nuts.
would you think you're gonna say that? Apologize, get away with it? Just slap him real quick. Some of the lines he turned around. So like the when Drake was like, "What is like a 20v1? Do I gotta diss everyone?" Kendrick flipped that and said, "Nah, it's not a 20v1. It's a 1v20 because I got to beat you and all your ghostwriters because Drake has been known to have a ghostwriters on there."
Yeah, and he said, "Am I
Fuck it.
fighting-"
All right, let's go.
Yeah, and he says, "Am I fighting ghost or AI?"
Yeah. Yeah, there's. I'm gonna pull up the Genius right now because there's a lot of bangers on there. This just take down Genius.com. If anyone doesn't know, it's like a website where you could look at the lyrics and have people put annotations on what they mean. This song took down Genius earlier today.
Oh shit! All right.
That's awesome.
Uh,
I need to see like what Fantano and other people say about it now, because I've seen like their like initial Twitter reactions. I want to watch some videos on it now.
right. He he alludes to it a few times too. He says stuff like the women you get with, they're not real women, insinuating that they're kids. He says this one
And
part.
it's
Go ahead.
yeah. I was gonna say he says some very like sussy. He calls Drake a woman multiple times in the song.
Yeah, that was the funniest slap where he's like, what was it?
Dude,
It
the
was
sexy red line.
yeah. He's like,
I know when you're standing next to sexy red, you see two bad bitches up there.
yeah. It's like, all right, Kendrick. There was that line that actually seemed it's funny because like it's all subtle digs that like it feels like if you know you know. So like you mentioned, have you ever paid 500,000 like that to open a case? Let's see. In 2019, Drake paid 530,000 to a woman who claimed the rapper had sexually assaulted her. Let's see. He just mentions he's like, bro, you're from Canada, living that like actor life that you're doing over there, bro. I'm in Compton. I have to deal with this violent shit. Like, come talk to me about that. I live this, right?
Jesus fuck.
Because I actually went down a deep dive because I keep meaning to like deep dive Kendrick on a like a high degree. It's only very light, but I did go through how Damn is fantastic. David, I feel like I need to get you into like a few of these albums. I
Damn's
feel like you'd
really
be
good.
into it. Damn is a story just all the way through, and the twist is that it's also a story reversed as well, track order wise.
Ooh, okay,
I
interesting.
think honestly, To Pimp a Butterfly is a great album to introduce someone to if they're not traditionally a rap fan.
Yeah, you would get into it. It's very introspective, very deep, which Drake kind of mocked for a second, but I'm like, all right, like Drake's like, yo, I could be just like you if I was on that conscious shit, and it was like, yeah, then you're saying you just don't think, okay,
Yeah, because that was one of those things that when I was younger, I used to be very anti-rap. And then as I got older and really started experiencing like the breadth of hip hop and rap as genres, I realized it was predominantly just gangster rap and fucking crunk I hated. And those were just unfortunately the very popular things growing up
And
was
find it
very
really
much just the
funny.
crunk and gangster. But as soon as you leave those two subgenres, like, oh man, the rest of this fucking genre is amazing.
so but it in context, even the gangster rap, like you gotta find that in a way that it's like it's really the culture, and you're diving into a culture that's so crazy deep in this like rags to riches, and the rapping and getting higher up there, just it's interesting. And then Kendrick's even been out there and saying like, what did he say on Mr. Morale? He was like, all these like he pretty much said all these rappers have been molested, like that's why they wear the big chains and they're without their shirts, like they've all been doing that they just hide in the facade of like money and stuff like that, which I mean like it's fascinating when you dive deep in that, and Kendrick's really the person that will dive you into that. But like,
Dude's a poet for real.
yeah, I mean he's got a Pulitzer Prize, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would genuinely be up to some recommendations, especially mentioning the context for what you just said for Kendrick, and that adds a lot of interesting depth to some of the songs.
So-
Kendrick is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, is the way I like to put it.
Okay.
He's the guy that like
People look
everyone
up to.
else is. Yeah, people are looking to him whether they like to admit it or not.
Let me break it down. So if we look at just the four, I'm gonna exclude Section 80. If you look at just the four studio albums, Good Kid, Mad City, still it's phenomenal. Everyone still loves that thing, and it's
More
definitely
your
got
traditional rap album. Though.
it's definitely got the more like you can put it on and drive to kind of rap.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why I kind of fuck with that. So I like West Coast vibes and being California, right?
Mhm.
I mess with that a lot, but it's also got a story to it, like interludes like that that tell
Yep.
stuff that's going on. He's always about telling you a story. Like there's always a story happening. Um,
Hmm.
and that was the first one. To Pimp a Butterfly is the next one, and it's very how would you describe that? I want you to describe that one because you were going off on that for a second.
Um, this one, like, it's not my favorite
It's very
album of his, but it's
political and
very political and very experimental. It's really jazzy at points, and it likes to break up the momentum. Like you'll have like your highs, but he'll quickly like jump in to like separate them out. Like it's weird to put. It's kind of like a stage show. I'd like to put it almost. It's kind of like there's an ebb and flow to it, and Kendrick's orchestrating it all.
right. But there's like tracks like You on there that's just like
Yeah.
Kendrick is like suicidal. Like he's like, I can't deal with all this. He mentions how he's always been, which and that's what makes Kendrick different from Drake, right? Is that fame thing. So Kendrick mentions like how he was off doing some show, but his like one of his best friends got shot and was stuck in the hospital, and he was just FaceTiming him, and he was like not able to like go out there, and he died, I guess, in the hospital. And he's mentioning how
Jesus.
he holds all his like kind of grief and stuff like that. But to Pimp Butterfly is more politically charged, a lot more like racial
I
undertones,
think
like
it came out during election cycle
right
or
and
around that time too.
and All Right being the lead song on there being like one of the big protest songs,
Yep.
being used in that banger Black Panther trailer. Damn is what people herald as his best. It's a
Magnum
genuine
opus.
story from beginning to end about Kendrick. Just he sees this old woman across the street, goes to help her, and you just hear a gunshot, and then it kind of goes from there. And it's about what's the alternative? Why am I blanking on it? It alternates different styles of what's the word? Like selflessness or it's like good and bad essentially. It alternates every track, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. But there's like a turning point, and then when you get into the, like if you listen to the whole record, like it tells the story, right? But there's like one point at the very end where it rewinds, like it has a rewind noise, and it kind of goes back to the beginning. And that told people, wait a second. If you reverse the track list, which he actually made a special edition of like a month or two later, and it had a reverse track list, and it had a reverse track list. So it's like one side's uh because Duckworth is about his dad working at this like KFC, and there's one guy coming through, and he's like, I need to make money. And he's like, I'm gonna rob this KFC, but the dad was in that kind of life, but he had a son, and he's like, all right, I know this guy's trying to rob me, or he's kind of eyeballing the place, so I'm gonna keep giving him free chicken. I'm gonna keep giving him like free food, and get into his like good graces about that, and it actually worked. And it turns out that was Kendrick's dad up there. Like we didn't know, but that was Kendrick's dad, and the guy that was going like scoping to rob the place, what turned up to be the producer of the studio that picked up Kendrick.
Huh.
And so there, and he plays with the idea like, all right, since my dad wasn't capped, that's how I became up here. I became a better person. What happened if he did get shot? All right, play it in reverse. And it's like instead of going from like delving into like the gross horridness and into like a lighter spot, finding God and all this, he reverses it, and like he had God, but he tried to look for God after his dad was taken away, and it becomes getting further and further and further, and then eventually just degrades into just whatever he just turns into. Um, and then Mr. Morale is about it's a very deep introspective of his life and stuff like that. He talked about his infidelity on
I think it's
tour,
about like coming into fatherhood too, right? It's just like overall about growing up.
right? Which didn't do as well because again, Kendrick like gets all the accolades, but he's not the like always the chart topper because he's not making
He's not making the radio banger every
like
time.
Drake is.
Mm.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you'll get like a damn, or you'll get like a sit
Humble.
down or something that just like humble that just fucking blows up out of nowhere.
But like Mr. Morale didn't have that.
Mm-mm.
Good Kid, Mad City had a lot more of those. But he's just about making the story, which you appreciate. So I'll send you that list. But the shots he shot at Drake in here were just like nuts. Shouts he gave Daft Punk a shout out.
Yeah.
That was cool. Um, what was my favorite?
Real quick, crazy a pepperoni in the
I was gonna
chat.
say that.
What would y'all recommend to someone who just casually is into rap and music but doesn't listen to Kendrick Lamar? And I feel like all three of us have different perspectives on that. So I'll let you two go first, 'cause I feel like you two have the more traditional views.
It depends. Like on Kendrick, did you try listening to like Pimp a Butterfly and Damn? In which case, I would tell you go back to get Good Kid, Mad City, and work up on there because you get a story, but you get more like songs you can just kind of like chill out to. Um, if you're looking for, I most listen to Humble. Humble is like a good track, but it doesn't. It's not. It's not the track to like define Kendrick off of.
It's a radio song, 100%.
It's a radio song, which ironically still fits into the story of Damn.
Oh yeah.
But it's not that. So I'd say if you're okay to it and you like album style like listens, Good Kid, Mad City, Back to Forth, I think is a fantastic way to go. Again, you got some really good poppy songs on there, not poppy, but like good songs. Which I just learned that Lady Gaga pitched her singing "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe." Did you know that?
No, I didn't. That's awesome. Though.
Yeah, Lady Gaga pitched her singing that, and Kendrick was like, "I'm good."
That
But
kinda
there's
makes sense
it's
because
on.
She was on like a.
You listen to it. You're on. It's on YouTube.
That makes sense because she like around that time period she was popping up on like a lot of like hip hop because she did a song with Wale, she did a song with Beyonce. I know that's not hip hop, but adjacent. And I feel like she's done more. I feel like she had like a Poker Face like remix that had like some
More of a kind of hip hop like tone to it.
yeah.
Look. Check this out. This blew my mind. It doesn't sound bad, but I definitely like the original. I love Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's like one of my favorite people of all time. But I definitely just prefer the original just because I think like it sets the tone of the whole thing.
That's just so crazy to see them in a picture together.
Right.
Good Kid, Mad. Yeah, it's Mad with 2 A's, but yeah, it's a
Yeah,
really
Good Kid,
album.
Mad City, which I just learned what the acronym was by something Angels something, because it was someone tried to give him something laced that would kill them, but he doesn't smoke, so he passed by it and he's like, well, that saved me. Yeah, and I think David, you kind of appreciate too, because Kendrick's actually sober. he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he
Interesting.
stays off that, but his vice was a sex addiction for a while, so he did fall into infidelity, which he
Yeah.
goes off of in his album. He's pretty open about it. But yeah, Kendrick also kind of has this like bipolar side to him. He talks about a lot where he's like, there's some days I'm just like all about love, but some days he's like, I just want to fucking just go. Like I want to just like, again, like on Control, which I'll send you, the aggression in his voice is so crazy. He's just like fucking gunning for it. David.
Real quick before we get too far back into the main subject, Kels, what would be your
right.
rap recommendations for people who are trying to get into the genre?
For sure. Yeah, so mine it's gonna be a little bit weirder because so mine go like I know like where good rap music is and like who makes it, but at the same time I like the unga bunga rap music that just fucking thumps hard and you don't have to think about. I have a wide range here. Tyler the Creator has some really good like rap borderline R&B albums that I think are really good just to be able to listen to from beginning to end. A lot of them do have a story to them, especially his later ones. I'm just going through my Spotify.
You know what?
library
I
Fair.
I don't know if you'll be mad, but one of my favorite albums of all time is also My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah.
I love that album, but if you're just trying to get into rap and also like it also has some stories to tell as well, I think that's a solid place to go to.
And Crazy A Pepperoni did say Tyler the Creator is one I do keep hearing about so much.
Yeah.
One of the call outs on Control.
Yeah, he was another one they called out. He's called him Tyler.
Yeah.
But a lot of his more recent ones are really good. Like a lot of them like have this. So beforehand, whenever it was still like early days of, or late days of Odd Future and kind of like shedding that, he had a different style to him. It was more just kind of like make stupid music It's gonna be overproduced to shit, and it's gonna be not for everyone. But now it's kind of transitioned into like, oh, I'm getting serious about music. I'm gonna actually make music, and it's gonna have like a story, and it's gonna be like real. It's gonna have substance to it. So a lot of his later albums really good. I really like Flower Boy. A lot of people didn't. Um, Igor, a lot of people liked. I I liked it. It wasn't like my favorite. And then Call Me If You Get This is interesting because he does a lot more singing on it, but I
Hey,
really enjoy it.
I think you know what. Hold up, before David goes. I think it goes to ask what kind of rap do you think you want? Do you want a story? Do you want
Mm,
technicality? Do you want like
For
good
sure.
vibes? Because there's some
Okay,
people
so
that
I
just
can,
throw like just like rap
that's
songs to kind
fair.
of like vibe along to. Like I'm listening to this in the car. There's some people that are just really good technically. Like Eminem, obviously his early stuff, technically just a fantastic rapper.
Yes.
okay,
J
I can
Cole
break it
also
down
has like
like
some
easy.
really
Yeah.
good like lining up with the rhythms and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I can break it down. If you want like a story, solid rap, something that you're gonna get a lot out of, Tyler the Creator can't go wrong. If you want good rap that's gonna be more lighthearted, it's also gonna tell you a story. Lighthearted at times because he can get dark. Mac Miller, he R.I.P. But go back through his discography because a lot of it, especially looking back, what we know now, it's really kind of heartbreaking. But also a lot of his
Right.
music like it's a lot harder now. And then if you just want something dumb that's just gonna make you fucking nod your head and have a good ass time too, Suicide Boys, that's always gonna be my shit. Can't go wrong. Or Shakewell, Suicide Boys or Shakewell.
I mean, I like the Unga Bunga style, but I don't mind a story to sing along with. Um, I genuinely think a good segue might be Good Kid, Mad City because it's got the kind of ideas
Yeah.
that you might like. Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my
Mm-hmm.
vibe. Right, but it tells a story. So I think that might actually be a good transition for you to roll into. Um, yeah, I like it. Before he gets back, what were some of the other lines I liked on that? Him telling him, "You're asking me where I'm at, bro. I'm raising my son. You would not know anything about that."
It just keeps coming back around.
And then obviously his last one was like, "You're not black enough. We take the N word pass back from you."
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about because the whole last bit of the song is don't you can't say the N word. You can't say the N word. You can't like how do you
Right.
come back to that? Like
Right.
yeah, I can.
Yeah. I'll mention that to David because I think he might actually appreciate that. Dave,
Another album, A Pepperoni. So I mentioned Mac Miller, Swimming, great album. It's not his posthumous one. His posthumous one is Circles. That one's really good as well.
David, I was gonna mention two last things on this diss track that Kendrick had, and I'll love to. We'll move off of this. The two other things I thought
I'm
was
still gonna give my recommendations, but yeah, you continue that.
no, I was gonna say it's really quick because I will close this out
Yeah.
after this. He mentioned at one point because I was asking like, bro, you're asking where I'm at. I'm raising my son. You don't know anything about that. He's like just talks about like
And
I'm a dad. You don't know about any of that.
a few years ago, there was a Drake had a beef with another rapper named Pusha T, and Pusha T put out a song that was pretty much the whole song was ripping him for being a deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
I guess it was like an unspoken thing, like he didn't have anything to do with his kid's life or whatever. He just kind of like fed child support to the baby mama or something like that.
Yeah, and Kendrick also did back up Push T in here for a second as well. But then at the end, David, which I think you'd find funny, is the song pretty much the last like 30 seconds of the song is pretty much him saying, "Look, you are not black. You don't get the N word anymore." And that's all he ends it with.
He just repeats it over and over, like you can't say it. You can't.
We don't
say
want
it.
we don't want to hear you say that no more. We don't want to hear you say that no more. I'm like, damn.
Oof.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. He's like, I don't know how you top up from that. What are you gonna say? I can say it.
Yeah, like how do you respond to that? It's like, well, actually,
Actually, I'm gonna say it. He's gonna say it. He's gonna say it.
no,
Say
Drake,
it.
don't do it.
All right.
Cable
But yeah, no,
David,
genuinely,
yeah.
if y'all could put in the effort to,
I will send that
me...
to you tonight. I promise you. I'm
Yeah,
so in on
because
this side.
I would like to go through that.
So
and
Kendrick
then
put
also
out a
going-
diss on Drake after he did some AI with Tupac. Kendrick put out a diss, initial like shots, and then everything followed after that. And then Kendrick's finally retaliating back after everyone kind of put out their jabs back on that.
he
Okay.
waited until the smoke settled.
Yeah, David, your recommendations.
All right, so I veer into a different territory of rap. As I've mentioned a few times at this point, I definitely lean more into the nerdcore side, predominantly of rap, as well as some other styles. The artist I do recommend Demon Dice. She's a lot of
Oh
fun.
no,
Uh,
no, 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 no. No, David, no. I
what?
fucking hate her. Are you serious, bro?
Really?
She's racist as shit.
Oh,
Like
What the fuck are
unironically.
you talking about?
Unironically. Oh yeah, dude. Like you'll catch yeah, Kels, you're actually on the you'll follow along that path eventually. So Hive Mind doing stuff with Brad Taste of Music every once in a while. Brad,
I love Brad. That's how I got into Hive Mind. I've been watching Brad.
have you seen him listen to Demon Dice?
I know he's talked about it. I haven't watched those
Vehemently
videos yet.
against it. Will has done album reviews and pieced through everything, and it's like trash. I am like,
Okay.
I've followed Demonized for a long time, and also under her other side job.
all right,
pseudonym.
I'll pull this up.
And
Take back your
I-
recommendation.
I-
Talk about everything else. I do not endorse any of that right there because no, do not. I will pull this up though. Let me find the track.
Makes me want to listen just to the pull
That's
it up.
crazy. If Pepperoni, Demonized does have a their VTuber persona, but and I also enjoy her VTuber persona. But I guess there are some people with some other contradictory thoughts on her. So I'll have to do a deep dive on that at some point. And Adrian's getting that information.
Have you heard the
So
song?
aside from that,
Have you heard the song Snake Eyes?
not that one off the top of my head, no.
Here, Dave. I'm gonna send it to you. I want your keep talking. Give me your recommendations after we're done.
All right.
I'll let you listen to it, and you can give me your live issue racist or issue not.
All right. So aside from that, other artists I quite enjoy from specifically the nerdcore genre. I love Zealous One. Absolutely fantastic. Man is a Savage. I enjoy Mega Ran thoroughly.
Mega Ran, I
I've followed
fuck
his
with.
career for
Mega
a long
Ran's great.
time.
I look up.
MC Lars. I enjoy like maybe every 1 out of 3 albums he releases, but I do enjoy MC Lars. Although he considers himself more post-punk than he does rap, but whatever. I do quite enjoy him. I do also quite enjoy, as alluded to earlier, Professor Elemental is fun. I quite enjoy and fuck with Professor Elemental. Fuck, there was one other one. Where's my... Let me pull up my fucking music library here. Oh, Richie Branson is another one that I thoroughly fuck with. He's a man that definitely has some insanely hard fucking bars. I quite enjoy a lot of his fucking work. A Pepperoni, I don't know. So far, I see one guy who doesn't enjoy Demon Dice, but then he likes something. I don't know. The weird fucking heart emoji's cutting it off.
Yeah.
The Mori stuff.
Yeah. So Calliope Mori is the VTuber persona of Demon Dice.
Okay. Did you see that window I shared of you? The first thing you look up when you look up Demon Dice Snake Eyes.
No, where'd you share that?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, look up at the Discord real quick. Love this.
All right. So I gotta. Oh, you're putting in the.
Yeah, I
stream
just
there?
shared it for a second. I love it. That's the first thing you search up, and that's what you see.
That has to feel so. Regardless of how you feel about the music, like that has to like. I'm just imagining being that artist, and like that's the second thing.
She
that
deleted the
comes up.
song.
Oh, did she?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
trash. David, listen to that track. Come back to me. We'll do a live. I want to see your live reaction to that.
All right. So let me pull this up here. So we're gonna do a live reaction to it.
I mean, I can't play her music.
I mean, no, I'm gonna listen to it, but we're gonna get my live reaction
If
here.
Kels wants to hear it, that's fine too. I'm gonna leave it off because I don't want silence for 4 minutes.
Mhm.
All right. So we'll at least get the first minute here and see what happens. All right. 3, 2, 1. I'm going.
Okay, go ahead. Actually, all right. You know what? Fuck it. I'll figure this out. Give me a second.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh
Okay.
god, I'm already annoyed.
All right, I'm gonna just mute that for there. Uh. uh. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, it's silent, but I need to reaffirm how much I hated this. uh, that's.
I mean, so far, a minute in, a lot of it is what she's talked about on other albums, and even to some degree as her Mori Calliope persona, where, yeah, she's never made qualms about the fact that she's basically a fucking Texan girl, and she's gotten really big into anime and rap, and that's kind of what developed a lot of her persona because she was trying to emulate gangster rap. I don't see the problem initially so far.
There was that, and well, first off, hold on.
This is my like sleep paralysis music now. I don't know. I just don't. None of this is for me.
No, there was another track where she was, I forget what. I tried to get it out of my brain as much as it was.
This is like Has Been Hotel Core.
That there was one track.
Rude. I quite enjoy Has Been Hotel. Fuck off.
I mean, I think this is like the genre of music that I associate whenever I think Has Been Motel or Hotel. My bad.
I
Motel.
forget what it was, but she was.
Has Been
Like,
Motel.
the spin-off made by the period studio that made like Transmorphers and shit like that. Has Been
Asylum.
Motel.
Yes,
Yes.
Asylum.
I forget which it was, but there was like one where she was like incredibly either dismissive or like it was something very bad towards like mental health and something. It was something super trashy that I was
I don't
no,
remember a song like that. I'm not saying that one like that doesn't exist, but from what I have purchased of her discography and what I have seen of her as Mori Calliope, because that's all full transparency. That's how I initially got into her. Was
Sure.
I discovered her as Mori Calliope, and then I went and was like, wait a second, this rapper sounds vaguely familiar that I keep getting recommended. Wait a second, this is the same person. But I mean, from a lot of what I have listened to of her discography as Demon Dice, past and some of the present stuff, as well as experiencing her as Mori Calliope, I have never come across anything from her that comes across as like genuinely a problematic person. A lot of what she has talked about is how when she got started as Demon Dice, she did say that she played up a lot of it just because it was fucking.
Dude,
And again, we've had this conversation. I'm gonna say we've had this conversation a lot. When we all get started when we're younger, we all remember the days when we were a lot edgier. As Linus Torvald said, using the hard R, although she had never used that fucking word, but either variant, honestly. But it's still one of those things where it's like, yes, when you're younger, certain things are edgy, they're funny, you make use of them. But it's also kind of one of those things that seeing where she has evolved into as a person, is it possible there's some problematic songs? Yes. Do I think this example you've given me is one of them? Not really. I mean, honestly, I could probably pull out off the top of my head a song that's honestly more problematic.
But can you read what the title of the song is again and what the context of the song is, David?
Snake Eyes.
I didn't even think about
I rest my case.
I didn't even think about that. God damn it.
I was like, we're glossing over, like, I thought, because you guys were like, oh, it's not that. I'm like, are you glancing over the fucking title of this, too?
You know, honestly, on some, yeah, I kind of was glancing over the title of it. However,
Look, I'm gonna say this: if someone, because I was at the say when I first heard, like, when you first hear like about a minute or so, you're like, oh, it's not that bad like that. When you look at her discography, it's just trash. I think the description that Brad Taste is perfect. Demon Dice is a rap equivalent of listening to a Guitar Hero song with 90% of the notes missed. And I agree. I just think trash. I think a lot of the messages in her song are just dumb. I think her dumb shtick is I rap fast. I can do this. Like, I don't care. I don't know. I just do. I detest them.
I don't know. I think that this is it is hard as a white man to go ahead and say I don't see racism here necessarily. I realize from my perspective that doesn't mean fucking anything.
Right.
I understand that. So I will quantify that as a white man. I can now, having been pointed out where a racial undertone could be here, and to point out to Crazy Ant Pepperoni, he also apparently has taken a second to realize it. Snake Eyes can refer to the slanted, stilted nature of how an eye can look, and a lot of the song is talking about America versus Japan. So I can see how if someone is going ahead and looking for problems, there can be fucking problems.
That is a
here.
problem. Excuse me.
So,
And have we
Adrian, what'd you get
again
this week?
have we not seen how she looks?
Yeah, I mean, she fucking white as hell. Yes, I think she's fucking even whiter than I am.
Yes. Say and making a song called Snake Eyes about Japanese culture.
It's
Come on, we just had Shogun. We can't have Snake Eyes bringing us down. We're at such a high point, man. Why did she have to do this to us?
I don't. I know.
I think it's slightly disingenuous, though, if only because of the fact that a lot of her career in history and a lot of what she has talked about from the fucking beginning has been owning up to the fact that, yeah, she is a fucking dumb white girl that has adapted both rap culture and a lot of anime culture and understands that she's kind of borrowing from shit. And a lot of her songs tend to be in basically like, yes, I own the fact that I'm a dumb white girl that enjoys these two subcultures, but I'm owning the fact that I'm a dumb white girl that enjoys these two subcultures.
Oh, so she's like Lil Dicky, but for VTubers.
I was gonna say Lil Dicky as soon as
Adrian
they
gets that one.
said asked who should I listen to. I was gonna say hey, Lil Dicky. Just that was an instinct of mine. Look, I'm sure her as a person is not a problematic person. I think her music is trash. I think her music is problematic. I'll give her that. I understand, but hey, I can understand why like nerdcore is into that because like she's a cute girl, and like off rip when you're listening to it, the music didn't sound bad. It just sounds like oh, it's cool fast rap, but like it's every song sounds exactly the same. To be fair,
No.
from an
Fuck
outside,
off.
an outside dude, I just hear her rap fast every single time. I want to hear her like give me a flow change. If you're gonna rap, do something different.
That's like someone saying that like every Slayer song sounds the same. Like, no, that's not.
Well, no, because she doesn't make the beats. I'm sure, right? She's not her own self producer.
No, she pays someone else. That's one thing that
That's
she
what I'm
misses.
saying.
She
So I mean, like
can't
that.
make
But if you're talking about like her, does she change her style of rap at all?
a lot of her stuff as Mori Calliope, she
Her
changes
as
it
Demon
because-
Dice. Is Demon Dice changed her?
Her
rap style?
as Demon Dice, no, a lot of it tends to go for that like super fast flowy rap.
Yes. So like, I think every rapper should at least have a flow change.
personification of like that. It seems like a trait of like that personification, I guess you could say.
Yeah, like I think
Whoops.
good examples of some of her more slower songs would be like Hellbento or Gang Gang Kawaii. Those would be some better examples of her slower songs.
And how slow are we talking?
I mean, I could rap along with them, is what we're talking.
All right. I tripped myself for a second because I had lyrics up for Demon Dice, just various songs. and I accidentally closed it and forgot. So I looked over and just saw a bunch of N bombs being dropped. I'm like, which song is this? That was a Kendrick song.
Yeah,
Damn.
I'm gonna say, but bunch of dogs are being
Found the
dropped. All right, we
racist
got a
song.
different conversation. Like, holy
Right.
fuck. But
I will back up. Mega Ran's a badass. I fuck with Mega Ran.
Yes, Mega Ran is phenomenal.
Yep.
Please go enjoy. MC Lars, like every third album or EP is fantastic from him. I do recommend every third one. Fucking, what was the last one he did? Zombie T-Rex is phenomenal. Go, please enjoy that one. The Edgar Allan Poe EP is fantastic. Go listen to that one. Honestly, a lot of his like novel and literary ones are fantastic. Aside from that, again, and Professor Elemental, highly recommend. A fun British twang to it. Oh, and Scroobius Pip. Scroobius Pip is another one I quite enjoy. Fun fact: when Samuel, our fucking local representative
future
to Geek,
president.
Our future president, Samuel to Geek, and I tried to do our music podcast. That was an artist that I tried to recommend to him because that was actually part of the podcast. Is we would each recommend each other an artist, and then we would randomly pick one. Of Monsters and Men was one that we randomly picked, which was funny because it ended up being one that caused me to have my partner fall more interested in me because she was also a big fan of A Monster and Men, and I was a fan of that because of that one episode of the podcast that never came out. And Scroobius Pip was a rapper that I discovered and tried to recommend because of the podcast. And I think he tried to recommend Kanye because, again, the black individuals in Paris tour is what was going on at the time.
I have a funny story about that.
You have a funny story about the black people in Paris?
Yeah, we were at a concert this past weekend, and in between sets, they were playing that song, but they were bleeping it out. So I was already like a few beers deep, so I was just screaming, Perry!
No, you know, I got another funny story, not of me. I got you, Kels, you'll enjoy this. So my buddy was doing karaoke, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't in karaoke himself, but like I think the whole bar was singing or something like that. Something, I forget what, but they were playing American Idiot. And he was singing along to his whole crew was singing along to it. And he turns to his friends, and he's I think he's drunk at this point. And he just yells, because that line's coming over. They dropped the F-bomb on there.
Yeah.
And he's like, guys, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. And when they go, they pause, and no one said it except for him.
Yeah, we're with you, buddy. We're with you.
Yeah. We got you. We got your back. No one.
The whole place just goes quiet.
Have you all ever listened to NF before? I feel like you guys would listen. Yeah, NF I fuck with. And that's pretty good.
No, I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about them. They seem like a generic person.
No,
that
I
seems
just
fine.
wanted to throw that as an aside specifically to Atbacky. I wasn't trying to circle it back around in the chat.
David loves racism.
I do. That's why one of my brothers, one of my best friends I consider a brother, is Hispanic, and one of my best friends until he thought I was trying to steal his girlfriend was black. So
And David is so not racist, he couldn't even see that Snake Eyes was the title of that track.
Exactly.
it's true. It took me a while to realize what it meant, and that's because of my beautiful white privilege, honestly.
I mean, that surprised me. I'm like listening to this. I'm like, this is terrible. And you're like, I don't see what's so bad about it. It's fine right now. Look at the fucking title.
Again, sometimes being a white man, I have a little bit of ignorance to some things, and it takes me a second.
I'm the Asian guy, and I was just fucking mind blown by the speed that she was rapping at, dude. It was just so rad. I forgot.
I mean, her cover of Rap God was fun, but
I'm
oh
sure.
no, did she do Godzilla too?
Did you say the slurs in there as well?
no.
Okay.
Who was
she
in
replaced the
Paris,
slurs.
Demon Dice? Please
She's on the
tell
straight and narrow.
us.
All right, this might be the longest we've gone in Blueberries at the beginning without having talked about video games, which is actually fantastic. I'm glad.
Yeah, what'd you get this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That. David, what'd you get this week?
Oh yeah. So on to a depressing subject. So I got Project Spark on the Xbox.
Oh, Conquer? Is that Conquer?
No, it's some
Going up for
bullshit
real one.
Iceland.
You remember they tease Conquer in fucking Project Spark?
Yup.
No, I wasn't an Xbox person still. I'm not still. But
Oh well,
I mean,
during E3 they had Conquer walk out on stage and it was a Project Spark ad.
Yup.
like actual Conquer the Fuzzy Nuts.
Yeah.
Yup.
Did he have a Great Mighty Pooh he had to fight?
No.
No.
Damn. I also got the Class of Heroes collection on Switch because again I am a degenerate and I love me some RPGs. And then shoutouts to fucking Amazon and their bullshit. I don't know if y'all saw this from Mario 64, but I was excited for a brand new sealed Dreamcast game in the year of our Lord 2024. So I hopped on it. And I was able to get this brand new sealed Dreamcast game for $6 when it was posted as such. For Coasterworks. And do y'all see the fucking crack in the case? In the
Yep.
condition it arrived in?
Oh yeah.
And I'm just sitting here like, I can't fucking return it because they have no copies.
You return it, you won't get another one.
So, no, because at that point, I may as well keep it. But then, this is the thing I hate with, like, sealed games. Do I leave it sealed, or do I crack it open and replace the case?
I'd say if you had your whole library sealed already, that one's that you just bite the bullet on and keep it sealed.
They probably said
Me
personally would accept it
personally-
as battle scars.
Yeah, Battle
I
Scar
agree.
is probably where I do it.
I mean,
yeah.
the funny part is the majority of my fucking Dreamcast library is Japanese. I only have, like, 2 other English released Dreamcast games.
Are you gonna play it?
But that's...
Eventually.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is when it comes to Dreamcast, probably not from the physical disc
Okay, so
because
then
I'll
just leave it
use,
sealed.
yeah,
It's a
I'll
good
leave it
story.
sealed. Because Dreamcast has a lot of good options for ODEs, and I still need to get one for my Dreamcast. But I've just not wanted to. The current is so I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I've talked about ODEs a lot in this podcast, but are you two like deeply familiar with the concept of an ODE?
Not really.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so TLDR, ODE stands for Optical Disc Emulator. So it's a bit of hardware that tricks your console into thinking it's playing a disc, but it really runs off of either a hard drive or an SD card. Like, half of my consoles have been modded to run off of some kind of optical disc emulator. And it's just because I would like to preserve my physical discs. I would like to still have an unmodded console that if my modded console dies, I can go back and throw those discs in when I feel like playing a game. But I would like to ensure their longevity a little bit longer by playing either my PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 or original Xbox, by playing games off of an ODE, so that way I can preserve my games. My Saturn has one, my PlayStation 1, etc. But I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place when it comes to the Dreamcast for 2 reasons. One, because the prevalent option that is widely available from a first party is the Terra Onion mode. And Terra Onion was a company that basically went full mask off a couple years ago because they tried to claim that the creator, Krizix, who is a phenomenal, well-respected figure in the retro community, the creator of the EverDrive, literally anything you've ever seen branded as EverDrive, whether it's for the NES, Genesis, TurboGrafx, etc., is by Krizix. Tried to claim that because he was escaping Ukraine, his home country, when Russia invaded, he claimed that that was Krizix trying to drum up business by using drama. And Terra Onion basically tried to slander Krizix and his legitimate escape from Ukraine with his family. And I have lost all respect, and I won't buy anything Terra Onion again because of that. But then that leaves the only other option being GDMU clones. So I'm not big on clones. If I'm gonna buy a product, I want to buy and support the original creator of something, generally speaking. The problem is the creator of the GDMU, so the very first kind of optical disc emulator for the Dreamcast, only does them in hyper small batches when they feel like it. And because of that, the secondhand market, read the Chinese market, has gone ahead and stolen their product. They have gone ahead and reverse engineered the GDMU. And pretty much most GDMU consoles that you buy, they're either pre-modded or if you just buy the GDMU itself, are probably from some clone company. So that is a rock in the hard place I'm stuck in between of, do I buy a product from a piece of shit that went ahead and tried to say that someone escaping the Russian invasion of Ukraine was just trying to talk about the drama for business? Or do I buy from a company that is stealing the hard work of another individual in order to create a cheap knockoff? So that's the only reason I haven't gone around and modding my Dreamcast yet. And I think the middle ground will be eventually I'll buy a second ODE for my Saturn called the Satiator, which plugs into the video card section of the Saturn and runs off of that. The only downside is it makes it so that way games that use the video card part of the Saturn won't be able to use that part functionality, which, to be honest, there's only like 20 games that use that functionality, and only one that matters, which is Lunar, which it sucks that Lunar is one of them. But aside from that, I might go ahead and do that and then repurpose my mode from my Saturn to my Dreamcast. So all that is a long-winded way and education history short of saying that no, I probably won't ever use a physical game on my Dreamcast. I currently do, but eventually I will only be running things off of SD cards for my Dreamcast. Real quick,
Is that it?
Pepperoni in the chat. Which is the lesser evil, and which one does the thing better? Unironically, Terra Onion mode for Dreamcast does do it better. I think the lesser evil is going to come down to personal preference. It kind of comes down to, which do you find more offensive? Do you find someone stealing someone else's work and selling it for a third of the price, but knowing that person only sells their work, like, we'll say a quarter of the entire year? Or would you say it's more least offensive to buy someone's work who actively is like, nah, Russia invading Ukraine is fine, and also anyone that bitches about having to leave Ukraine is a whiny bitch just trying to profiteer off the fact they've had to be evacuated from their homeland? Which do you find least offensive is basically what it boils down to.
David, am I trying to how much of this timeline do you want the bare essentials of this Kendrick Drake feud, or do you want like a little bit of the outliers, like Rick Ross is
a little bit of the outliers?
Okay.
Anything that where you're like, no, this is fire and should be included, go for it.
Should I include that Rick Ross thing? You think
yeah, go for it.
All right. Keep talking.
All right. So yeah, that's where I would say I don't know about y'all, but for me, I think both are bad, and I don't necessarily want to support either. The unfortunate thing is, before Terra Onion mode went mask off, I bought the Onion mode for my Saturn because the Saturn works on the PlayStation 1, the Saturn, and the Dreamcast. So that's why I'm thinking I'll probably end up at some point down the road buying a Satiator to go ahead and throw into my Saturn, and then I'll put my mode over into my Dreamcast. I think that if you wanted to go down that route and you were like, okay, but like I want to use original hardware on my Dreamcast, but I don't want to pay for Dreamcast games because, let's face it, a lot of the good items on Dreamcast are dummy expensive. I would honestly go maybe the way of the GDMU clones, if only because of the fact the original creator makes it hard to get a hold of the legitimate product. That's the only reason I would say go with the clone. The downside of the clone is you get no updates. The way that a lot of the Chinese knockoffs design their clone GDMUs is a hard design the chipset to work with the firmware, and there's no upgrading the firmware. So anytime the GDMU has a firmware update, you can't use it, or else you risk bricking your clone GDMU. The Terra Onion mode has firmware updates. It's shitty how they do it because they have serial keys to their product. So when you buy a Terra Onion mode or any other Terra Onion product, they have basically like an old-fashioned CD key if you play PC games back in the day, and all your updates are tethered to that key. And I think that's fucking shitty and a scummy business practice as well. And they claim it's for making sure no one can easily clone their firmware updates. You're a fucking coward and a cuck. Quizix releases his shit completely for free and doesn't give a shit. Mike Shi, the creator of the Retro Tank product line, releases his shit for free with no fucking serial keys or any other bullshit. Even the Morph, which has its own controversies, releases their shit for free. Literally, if you're that afraid of your shit being cloned and pirated, you're a fucking coward and a cuck. I'm just I'm being straight up honest there.
Well, it's really weird because that whole community is about preservation, and I feel like keeping your shit to yourself in your own little bubble is completely anti that.
This man gets it.
So
This man
it's
understands.
it's like we understand why you're here. Now go fuck off.
And that's why it's so frustrating. The retro community for the modding community is a wild beast. I've been following it like very closely for the last like 7-8 years or so now, and it's fascinating because the majority of the community are phenomenal individuals that will go ahead and give a lot of information out there because they want people to have the information. A lot of creators in the community open source their shit because they know that at some point they're not going to want to fucking support that anymore. So fuck it. Open source it so someone else can fork it and do their own thing with it. There are some people that will go ahead, like Mike Shi, who will pay what many would consider an exorbitant fee up front for their work. But honestly, when you consider the years of R&D and the continuous years of free updates the man fucking gives for his products, is more than fair. The Retro Tank 5X still gets updates to this day. That product released like 6 years ago, and he still gives free updates for that fucking thing. And I remember people bitching about when that released at $250. Now, granted, I do have the Retro Tank 4K, and this was $750. And I also still say that unless you are a hardcore retro collector, it's not worth it. Like, straight up, I'll fucking say that. And unless you're someone like me, or potentially, like Adrian or someone that has, you have the whole PlayStation family of consoles. You have the whole Xbox, the whole fucking Atari, unless you are someone that has, like, retro consoles or even retro computers, because it actually has a DVI in for it as well. Unless you're someone that cares about retro consoles or retro PCs, or you honestly just want good fucking quality Switch video. I talked about this when I first got this. I fucking played this. I used my Switch with this for a bit. I will never go back to playing my fucking Switch without this. Seeing the Switch upscale to fucking 4K and seeing it on a fucking 4K screen. Now, my 4K TV isn't the greatest, but the night and day fucking difference playing just a fucking Switch in fucking 1080p while it's like struggling to import it, the fucking video itself, versus being like, okay, just go to your native resolution of 720p and then letting this fucking handle the heavy lifting is fucking night and day. And it's amazing, and I'll never go back. But again, I don't have it for just one console. I have it for like 40 other consoles. Plus, I have a Windows XP laptop. I have a Windows 98 fucking desktop. I have a fucking MSX computer. I have so many other things I can hook up to this. So if you're a hardcore collector, this is a no-brainer. 100%. Fucking get this.
So,
But 700.
what
Go
about
ahead.
like? So I know there's other things that you can use for it, but could you potentially like plug in like VHS or something too and use it in that
Yes.
format? Okay.
Mike Chi actually has spent a lot of time creating screen filters for VHS tapes. And that's actually, there's a project. Are you a VHS collector by chance?
A little bit. I'm not like
Okay.
huge into it, but I'm big into the analog community in general.
So TLDR, there's a program out there called Project Doomsday. Project Doomsday is meant to be the pinnacle of preservation for all the analog media. So, for instance, it's meant so that way if you had like 80 just to use an example, let's say you had, you went to a local thrift store and you bought 80 copies of Titanic. And you're like, I want the best quality version of Titanic that exists, but I don't want to pay for that fancy new 4K that just came out. But I happen to have all of these because I paid a penny for them. Project Doomsday, the way it works is that you first rip all of your VHS tapes. So you would use something like the RetroTink 4K to get the highest quality out of it possible. But then Project Doomsday says, okay, feed me all of the copies that you have. So you would go ahead and say, hey, here's my 80 digitized copies of Titanic that I have. And then Project Doomsday goes ahead and says, okay, let me go through the footage. And then what it does is it recreates a final copy that takes frame by frame the best frame from each fucking copy you fed into it. So for every single individual frame of those 80 copies of Titanic, it finds the single best frame and then creates a copy of Titanic at the end of it, fed from the best frame of all those 80 copies. And it's phenomenal. Highly suggest looking into that if you are someone that cares about VHS preservation or Laserdisc preservation or anything like that.
I've seen something interesting that's almost on the same lines just this week. I think it was like within the last week on Twitter. Someone like had a copy of T2 Judgment Day, but it was like,
Ooh.
so I guess here lately James Cameron went and did like an AI refiltering of like the movie or some shit.
What?
So
Yeah, I've heard
someone,
about that for the latest 4K release.
yeah, so someone went back through and stripped it all out. So then that way it would be like a clean 4K copy of it. And it's really it's really cool how they did it. And they went back and like resaturated a lot of the stuff and they did like before and afters. It's almost kind of like a reverse of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of. I remember because I actually watched a deep dive video talking about that because it started off from my end of the spectrum and how I probably got recommended that video. Because I remember when the discourse around Sailor Moon happened, where people talking about their old VHS tapes of Sailor Moon and like the heinous pink filter that was on a lot of those old VHS tapes for it, just to realize no, that's not how it's supposed to look. But like, because I get like anal about the presentation to a degree. I'm not like some cinemaphiles where I need like, no, it needs to be the raw experience of seeing it from the 35 millimeter film it was filmed on. But at the same time, I do want like an earnest presentation. I understand that any translation to other media is going to have some loss to some degree. But I remember when I started getting really particular about it was when Hellraiser got its first Blu-ray release, and the blues were heavily taken out of it. They like turned everything like a stupid pale white, and I was like, ugh, that's fucking gross. That's horrible. What the hell is happening here? And that's what caused me to take notice about a lot of that. And there's a lot of films that have like weird retouch-ups like that. I'll have to see if I can find the video I watched that talked a lot about that. But yeah, so I mean, I am not like hyper anal about it, but I do think that there's a certain baseline quality of like it should still be in the spirit of what the original is trying to be. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, a lot of 4K and Blu-ray masters do not fucking hold to that.
yeah, it
Uh,
kind
and
of takes away the artistic intent because a lot of times the color grading is like exactly that. Like there's
yes.
intention behind that.
Like unironically, my favorite version of Terminator 2 is the Laserdisc release, and that's one of the few Laserdiscs I actually have. It looks fucking minty and does feel a lot like the theater experience.
I found on Etsy the other day someone was selling the original trilogy of Star Wars, but it's the
Ooh,
original theatrical release on Blu-ray. So it wasn't like any of the updated with extended scenes or added on
so was it
CGI.
like a bootleg then?
I
It must have
think,
been.
yeah, I think what they did was almost along the same lines. They had to have recorded the VHS right, and then had to have re uploaded it and then burned it to Blu-ray.
Yeah, because potentially, because I think the Laserdisc release was technically the last like unedited,
Mm-hmm.
aside from like the Star Wars. Because growing up,
I
one of my uncles actually had the original trilogy box set.
I did too.
Uh,
That was the one I grew up on. I didn't
Same.
know that Return of the Jedi had the little singing bug dude in it until I was like 23 years old. Because
Yeah,
like I thought I was living in like everyone else was living in like
the
Gone with the
The
World.
Berenstein universe there.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, David, you got anything else?
Um, all the shit I have of interest is coming in tomorrow. I alluded to it maybe before the podcast, but maybe during the podcast. I have a new microphone coming in
Ooh.
that'll be here tomorrow. And then also because I'm an adult that fucking has allergies, I dropped like $200 on a fucking air purifier,
Smart,
so I can try to fucking breathe like a normal human being.
smart, smart. Kels, what'd you get?
Um, I'm light this week. I just went to a concert this weekend. I got
Hell yeah.
got a cassette. That was cool. 20th
Nice.
anniversary for the album I went to see.
I like collecting
Custom
cassettes
art.
now.
I don't.
Dude, it's so
That's
fun.
one medium I'm okay not going back to.
See, a lot of like the music I do collect for it sound really good on the medium, so that's kind of how I justify
Mm.
it.
I
But
man.
this one was cool. I think it's like probably the last show I'm gonna get like meet and greet tickets for because I got it and it was fucking lame. So I got it intending. I was like, all right, because I've done like I've br- I like I showed last time my vinyl. I bring shit and I get it signed. Like it's like
Right.
kind of for me. It's kind of like a memento of the night. It's not like something I'm looking to sell or anything like that. Even though I have gotten like signatures from bigger bands. And like I brought my vinyl to the show. I'm like, all right, I got the meet and greet, so I don't even have to wait around. I can just get this shit. And they're like, nah, you can't bring it in. Turns out they're selling signed vinyls.
Oh, that's
Is why.
bullshit.
Yeah, and so they're like, no, they don't want to slow down the line for any signatures. I was the only person that brought shit to sign,
Fucking
and
hell.
it was a sign. It was to sign a vinyl, which they were selling. So I'm like, all right, I fucking get it. And all it was like you throw your arm around them, get a quick picture. I was like, ah, this is fucking lame, dude. I feel like a fucking jabroni. Y'all got me. Y'all got my ass.
Yeah. I think as I get older, I don't really think there's a band I want to like. I mean, I've had my meet and greets with a few of them. Like Eden's one of my favorite
Yeah.
artists. I've had 2 meet and greets with them. The last one I went to, I was like, I don't need a meet and greet. I'm good. Like, I did already. I'm good. I just kind of want to just hang out, vibe to the music, and sometimes I want to go a little bit early too. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm just there for a time. I don't need to,
Yeah, for me, it's like strictly to get shit signed. Like
especially
I'm
because
not
they're
trying to
so
kick
expensive
it
though,
with
right?
them. I'm not. Yeah, and that's the big thing because usually it's like usually I can get like the one concerts I go to, it's like 40, 50 bucks maybe max for a ticket. And then like it's like, oh, VIP meet and greet, 180 bucks on top of
Mm-hmm.
that. It's like not a ticket included. And my thing is like, all right, I'm gonna get shit signed. It'll be chill. Like I don't care to talk to these people. It's not like I'm not the fangirling out about it. I'm
Right.
kind of like I'm there to vibe. I'm there to chill. I know my place in in this situation here.
Right.
But I don't know, it just kind of bummed me out that they were like, nah, you can't do that. I'm like, all right, this is fully like don't meet your heroes type thing. Not that they're my hero, but it's
But yeah,
like, all right, this kind
I
of like
Yeah.
I think the
behind the
only
curtains
last
kinda
time,
thing.
which is fair, it
Don't
was
give a
recent.
fuck.
Last time the only time I would ever consider that meet and greet is getting to meet Yoko Taro at that Nier concert. Because I
Yeah, of course.
wanted something
Yeah, that's
signed.
one I
Sick.
still like.
You know, he's not
Yeah.
gonna be at that show, so don't worry about that about missing out, David. But that's something I would love to
Fair.
get. I would love to get him there. And why don't I wait? Hold on, I just realized. Ah, fuck. I realized like I have a decent savings right now just because of that. That's why I offer the $200. I just realized I really wanted the fucking Emil head though. I just forgot about that.
Oh yeah, do you still want me to ask my buddy about that? I forgot all about
Yeah, do
asking
that
him
because
about
otherwise I don't want to impulse buy a Emil head because I will.
that. Yeah, I'll ask him about that.
Cool. Anything else?
'Cause
guys?
the ironic part is like if he makes it, it would be with the machine that my partner has.
We'll see. If I don't get that, if we don't get that I Love Beast thing, I might just get that. But I mean, I would prefer an I Love Beast thing because the Emil heads are always there. The I Love Beast thing has happened once in 5 years. It's a DVD. Who knows how many of those are just floating around in decent condition. All right.
I'll ask around because that's probably gonna be a joint effort between my partner and
If
my
it's too
buddy.
much, though, I'm probably just gonna go with Etsy. But we'll see. Just because I don't want to spend $400. What up, chat box? All right, what I got? Went to Colorado, like I mentioned. At one point, they wanted to do some outlet shopping, so they went to the Crocs store. I told myself I wasn't gonna get more Crocs.
Oh, no.
I got another pair because I saw these bad boys.
Talking about Crocs makes me has to pee. I'm sorry.
I saw,
Okay, that's kind of forgiven. That's
yeah.
Fucking bladder,
Even my
something
girlfriend who
today.
fucking hates Crocs, like despises Crocs. I showed her, she was like, all right, the Buzz Lightyear ones are kind of cute. I was like, and then the one of these charms lights up.
Oh yeah. the
Yeah.
little, giblets.
Yeah,
giblets.
the my coworker got because they had Lightning McQueen's there, and those things sold out pretty much everywhere else. So she got those for her boyfriend. I was like, I kind of want a pair now. So I got those. I'm not gonna show them off. I got some Air Jordans. I've always wanted a pair of Air Jordans. I've never had a pair of Air Jordans. So I saw a pair that would look good, really, really, really good with my my blazer that I had on, but it rained that day, so I couldn't even wear my shoes that day because they're white. So, but I got them nice, prepped, laced up. So I'm like, cool. I now got my pair of Air Jordans. Let's see. Where did my? Oh, I do have this. I'll show these because David's. I think David would be fine with these. But I got. When I made my A24 purchase, I had a
Yeah, nice.
capping off my collection again, so I'm caught back up. So I got a copy of Midsummer, which one of my students really wanted to look at, so I got that, brought that to school for that, and then Lighthouse. So I'm back up to a full 11-book collection of these.
Speaking of Robert Eggers, we have Nosferatu coming up.
Oh, when's that coming out?
I think it's this summer. I remember reading it was one of the big things that they showed off at like CinemaCon.
Okay.
So we're like on the cusp
Yeah,
of it.
they all escape. Yeah, they all escape.
What?
Escape.
What up?
Hell yeah. My bladder is going like fucking crazy. And I keep forgetting it's because the beer I got for tonight is Old Rasputin. It is a Russian Imperial Stout. And it's 9% per volume, and I tanked the whole fucking
Is it
package.
next summer? God damn it. Don't
David,
do
What's
that.
well-
next summer?
That's Ratu. David, I showed off these real quick. I got these books to catch up my A24 collection. So I got my screenplay books of The Lighthouse and Midsummer. I showed. Did you see my Crocs?
I still need to fucking watch the director's cut of Midsummer.
I have
It's
it.
gonna happen at some point.
It's so long.
Oh, no, Google says December 25th, 2020.
I mean, you say it's so long, but a buddy of mine and I are still dedicated to watching the 5-hour cut of Redwall. So
Fair. I want to see Moonfall. I bought that because I heard it was terrible. I really want to watch that. I got this because I heard it was $20. I figured why not for $20? I got one more for $3.
disgusting.
David, I told you about this. I wasn't gonna buy this, but there's a part of me that's like maybe this might be a little tougher to grab eventually, just because I got Stellar Blade because it comes with that
Ooh.
1.0 titty and gore patch.
It's the butt game.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Shout out to was it Lance McDonald that confirmed the bunny suit is uncensored in the 1.0 version.
Yep.
Woo.
So the only way to play
So
the
if you
1.0
really care
version,
that fucking much, go for it. I will eventually get that game, just because, unironically, from the actual fucking gameplay I've seen, it does look fun.
yeah, I was always gonna get it
Um,
eventually. I was gonna wait because that, but having a 1.0 patch on disc, that if they do a second run, I can see them totally just shipping it with 1.02 or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of just like having the ability to just have that.
That's fair. I don't know. I looked a little bit into the contract because I remember you messaged me earlier in the week saying but like from last podcast to now,
Right.
saying like, bro, did you hear about this? I'm like, no, not really. And then the second I was like, no, not really. My Twitter started fucking blowing up about it. I don't know. I kind of think it's fucking dumb, the controversy going on with it. Like on some level, on some level I get it.
Okay.
Because if you do look at screenshots comparing before and after, it's like
Not even that.
this game did look a little bit more than what it actually ended up being.
I think where it stems, I think if you're gonna advertise your game as uncensored and you censor it last second, I think that's on you. That's on the people buying. So
Yeah, that's fair.
well, everyone's like up. Yeah, to be fair, Neo's been posting some amazing tweets of people on the petition page that are just really cringy, trying to get the uncensored version out. I think to the credit, I think that I just think that's kind of how it is. It's not about just like, oh, you censored it last second. I think it's like you advertise it as this. You shown it off it for all this time. If you pull it last second and you like censor it, then that's not something you should do. But yeah,
But at that point, it's if you don't agree with that, then don't buy it. But the issue is these fucking dorks are still fucking buying it.
Yeah,
now
that's
buy
what I really
this
think.
version.
I
You
am-
want to play your titty game? There you go. Buy a copy now, because you're gonna have to either wait for PC mods or just hope they backpedal. Because
or just pirate or buy it secondhand. Like, here's the thing, and I've talked about this a lot on the podcast.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer of vote with your wallet.
well, no. So what I'm saying is people were mocking people that get refunds off PS Plus. I think that's fine. Get your
No,
get your
I
refund,
agree
that's fine.
100%. You should get if you bought it thinking it was going to be one thing and suddenly things were changed day one. My own personal thoughts of what was changed aside, I think that makes perfect sense.
Sure.
Hey,
You
if
thought you were
bought
being
this
sold one
thinking
thing.
You could jerk off to it, and then later you found out you indeed could not jerk off to it. You are entitled to a refund, pal.
It's still got some ass and titties, but
It do.
they definitely got reeled back a pinch.
Yeah,
You had
it's
to optimize it for 60 FPS console
This
gameplay.
is true.
but yeah.
Enough
So I mean,
polygons for that ass.
I understand
Oh.
where there's at, but I already wanted to play the game, and if I can have a copy with a patch on it that I can only access through that, that's fine with me.
Yeah, and that's where I stand. Is like, again, with anything like this, and I have talked a lot about this before. Vote with your wallets. There's a lot of things that I was kind of interested in that I will not buy because I don't want to support. And Stellar Blade, I've seen screenshots of the comparisons. I don't know, maybe I'm just a weird dude, but I think the changed versions honestly kind of look better in some aspects. So
Fake,
I don't care
fake,
that fucking much.
fake titty fan.
I mean, I'm not a titty fan. I'm a leg and ass man. So
Luckily, you see that. I love in the game they have an option to make the ponytail long or short, just so you can see the ass more.
My
so I
favorite
mean
part
that
is like the people going into it before release that were like, y'all are being weird about this and about her sexuality and shit. They're now like completely vindicated.
Right.
yeah.
It was like, no, we're not. We just want an anti-woke game that's not afraid to be
My
sexy or
titties!
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, but then also, what made me laugh the most is all of the good reviews the game was getting, anyways, and all these people being like, "Why is it getting good reviews?" It's like, okay, y'all are fucking mad that you were expecting this game to get fucking critically panned because of the TNA in the game, and then the game got great fucking reviews, and y'all are fucking mad that it got great
Yeah.
reviews. Like, I don't know what the fuck you want.
April called David a fake Coomer, which is I agree.
No, I'm a fucking real Coomer again. I'm all about the mess and legs. So I mean, yeah, go ahead and put on a skin and have the censored version being like, oh no, we get hosiery on there. Ah, yes, an article of clothing designed to accentuate the legs. Oh, don't fucking threaten me with a good time. So yeah, oh no, you're making the bunny girl outfit look more like a traditional bunny girl outfit. Oh fucking no. So I'm the worst demographic to fucking cater to in this regard. Also, I have a partner. I don't
Alright,
need
DSP.
the 2D wifos.
Okay, DSP.
Yeah, a lot of this shit is like pushing normies like me away from these games because I'm just like, y'all are being fucking weird about this.
They are.
Nothing about this makes me want to
So-
even be associated with this game.
I agree 100%. Literally, this could have gone for anything. If I have the ability to get a patch again that's only available through this way, and potentially maybe if they run that patch on disc later on, I'm literally just going in for that. I have the ability
Here's
to do
the-
that. Cool.
I wish the creators were more honest about it, if only for one reason. It's because I feel like by them kind of backpedaling a little bit, it puts them into the disingenuous category that I put like fucking Kojima in. I will defend Yoko Taro till my fucking dying breath. The man is fucking honest. The man up front is like, yes, I have designed these sexy, beautiful women because I fucking love women. I don't know what to tell you. I just want to see a pleasant female form. Also, by the way, all of you hentai artists, fucking please zip up all of your hard work and send it to me so I don't have to go looking for the hentai myself. Okay, thanks, bye.
No, he
The man's fucking
what
honest.
was it? The Reddit was like, oh, there's so many fucking 2B cosplays. This is getting really fucking annoying. Can we stop with this? And I think
Yeah.
one of them sent their cosplay over to Yoko Taro. He's like, no, this is amazing. Keep doing this.
Exactly. Again, the man's fucking earnest. And you know what? I have a lot of respect for that. The man knows what he likes. The man never lies or puts on a fucking front about it. And then you have cucks like Kojima who are like, no, Quiet needs to be dressed like this in this kind of skimpy attire because, like,
I'm gonna push
it's
back
a
on you a little
metaphor
bit.
about
Yeah,
how she
do
needs
it,
to breathe
Kels.
through her skin.
Let's have someone push
No.
back
Go for it.
against David now.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on this. I think do we know how old Yoko Taro is?
I'll check right now.
Yeah, I was
I
going to
feel
say,
like he's-
I don't know.
I feel like he's a little bit not old, but
53,
older. Okay, and I feel like Kojima's probably coming up into his 50s, right?
60.
Oh, okay, he's a little bit older. Where I was going with it, I was wondering if it was an age thing because I feel like nowadays,
Because Yoko Taro does act like a
Kojima-
Coomer every now and then where he's like, oh, he is horny. Whereas Kojima might have
Yeah,
been like,
but-
there has to be a reason for.
but I'll say now, Kojima is full on horny on main. Like on Twitter, there's very notorious horny posting like movie pages and stuff that will post like clips or pictures or scenes of actresses that are in his games, like Leia Seydoux, Hunter Schafer, like them being sexy as hell in whatever scene for movie pictures or whatever, and he's sharing them on main and he's posting about them on main. So part of me wonders, like, is this like an age thing and he's just getting into it? He's like, all right, fuck it, I'm horny on main now, and before he was kind of like shy about it because like from what I've seen lately, he's 100% just out there with like, yeah, I'm posting sexy women.
Hold on.
I could maybe see that argument. It's just one of those things that prior to potentially him finally like, nah, fucking, I'm too old to give a shit anymore. And maybe that's honestly the root of it. Maybe he's just too old to give a shit anymore.
Or like some kind of loosening up, or I don't know what it is.
But whatever the case may be, it's kind of one of those things where Yoko Taro from the beginning has been honest about a lot of the shit that he's into, and a lot of the shit was like, Nah, I fucking just did it because it looked cooler. Because nah, fucking, I'm into that.
I will say, it's
and like,
disappointing,
I have
especially
more
with that
respect for
interview.
that.
He had the interview with Yoko Taro. It's disappointing that he didn't kind of follow suit with that.
Yeah,
You made a horny ass game. Own it. Whatever.
and that's why I say, you know, in some moments, to be fair, I understand why people may not, you know, suddenly be against this game, is because, especially where Yoko Taro talked about how much he enjoyed this game and how he kind of, you know, envied how he felt it was better than even some of the stuff he's made. Granted, Yoko Taro is also in a weird juxtaposition as an incredibly humble individual, but it's also one of those things where it's like, I could get people going and be like, okay, you spent time with the man that is the master of horny and the master of like, like there's no one that was looking at this game that wasn't going like, ah, yes, the spiritual successor to Nier Automata.
some of
then
those,
some
some
would
of
be
those
like-
fans are like, I love Nier Automata, and this is a game not censored. Which, by the
And
way,
yes,
that's what you're taking
Kojima
away
is
from.
super horny.
You're taking away Nier, and that's the only thing you can take away of that. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, again,
It's a
going on that
bonus.
side tangent,
It's like a bonus.
it's the fun aspect of Nier. It's the lure to get you in. It is what lowers your guard to be like, oh, you horny? All right, let's give you a little bit of horny, and then you're like, I'm fucking horny. Let's go. I love me
you
some
like
fucking
women?
long-legged androids. Let's go.
I just love
And that's
how
like,
it's always I came because I was horny, but I ended up leaving crying.
yeah, exactly. That is the fucking Nier experience. You know, whether it's stuff with Kaine and fucking Gestalt slash fucking Replicant, or it's Automata, you fucking come horny, all right. But you fucking leave a broken husk of a human being that has never been more in touch with your emotions.
Yep. Speaking of emotions, I forget if I
Hell
showed
yeah.
this off. Did I show this off yet? I got
No.
the Nier
let's
entire anime collection.
Good shit.
Like that black on black rose in the front right there. I'm excited to play this though. So shout out to that. I've had that for a little while. I forgot to show that off. It was in my room.
I still gotta watch the Nier anime. I grabbed all of it once the last 3 episodes were finally dubbed, and I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I need to. All right. Anyone playing anything? Let's just throw that question out universally because we're rolling late.
Real quick, I just want to ask this: where Kel is also a slight wrestling person, and we spent a lot of that time talking about the rap beef. I have to ask on the wrestling beef side of things.
I get one rap beef like podcast, and you say, "Oh, well, you got that." So let me talk about wrestling. I've given you like maybe a solid 10 to 12 episodes of you talking a solid half an
No,
hour
there
about
should be
wrestling.
like a 5-minute TLDR at most.
Yeah,
like,
okay, I'm timing your shit. This is
so
like
real
back in the
quick,
day.
Kel, what is your thoughts on Goldberg trying to find his retirement match and saying AEW is too cheesy for it?
I think that's so funny. I just love. I think there's like a collective of people that are universally against AEW, and not many of them would I imagine aligning with Goldberg right now. Which I think is very funny that they all have just a common enemy of just like, yeah, fuck those guys. Which I like. I don't really get because I feel like AEW is like a quality product over there. I feel like it's a
For the
good.
most part, the over pushing of Jericho, the whole, I mean, especially the whole
Yeah.
situation with Jericho and Hook is fucking disgusting. Jericho should not have fucking gone over.
Yeah, I'm not too in depth on their storylines, but I completely agree with Jericho. And like even to an extent, like Edge, like I know he's not like super main card, but they are kind of setting themselves up to be made fun of whenever they are pushing some of these older guys. And not
Edge has mostly, to be fair though, Edge has mostly been in competition with Christian in his faction.
for sure.
Which makes sense because Edge has said for a long time he does want his retirement match against Christian.
And that's cool that that storyline's being able to be picked back up here too without
Yeah.
too many hitches going on. But yeah, like I just don't understand. part of me wonders like how much of it is them like building them up, I guess, whenever they're talking shit, and how much of it is like them actually not liking either Tony or like the organization over there, or like what's going on.
No, a lot of that is shit. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna say I don't give a fuck what Goldberg thinks his
Yeah.
retirement match should be.
Like,
Goldberg,
has he not retired already? Like, I didn't realize that he was looking for like a retirement.
no, he's been trying to find his retirement because he had a falling out with WWE ultimately. And I'm gonna be honest, Goldberg's place was in the 90s and never anywhere else. Goldberg made sense in WCW at the time because the NWO was the most popular fucking storyline, but because WCW in the late 90s, early aughts, basically only knew how to write one thing, and that was the NWO. They had nothing else going on, despite the fact that they had an amazing lucha roster with Eddie Guerrero, Psychosis, Ultimo Dragon at one point, fucking Rey Mysterio Jr., all the other like all the luchas in that. Plus, as much of a piece of shit he ended up being down the road, but Chris Benoit, a very underappreciated wrestler in Dean Malenko, so many good technical wrestlers. Yeah. They never knew how to write for them for some fucking reason, so they never got anywhere. Goldberg was just a breath of fresh air in the product at the time. He was an unstoppable monster that he did 3 moves, and he won the wrestling match, and that is all he ever did. He was proto Brock Lesnar. That's
Yep.
exactly where. Yeah, it was fun. It was different. It was fantastic. Go back, watch old WCW footage. No one's denying the crowd fucking loved that man. But again, it wasn't necessarily because he was a good fucking wrestler. He certainly wasn't a good fucking promo. It was just because of the fact that he was different. He wasn't the NWO. He wasn't Ric Flair trying to gain control of the company for the 80th time. He wasn't any other weird, long-time established bullshit. He was different and new, and people were excited for that. His WWE run and on have all been trash. His feud with Triple H was hot garbage. His feud with Steiner should have never fucking happened in WWE. And honestly, all the shit they've used him for in modern years, his feud with Brock Lesnar, trash. Him fucking going over goddamn Bray Wyatt was one of the most disgusting stops in a fucking storyline I have ever fucking seen. And everyone should be ashamed for that whole fucking situation. And then, of course, there's the whole concussing Bret Hart and taking him out of his fucking career. Say what you will about that, I still think that's fucking horseshit, and is one of those things that just fucking proves he couldn't be trusted in the fucking ring for any extended period of time. Truly, if you want a hilariously embarrassing match, in WWE, he had a match with William Regal that went for just 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. It's the most embarrassing shit to watch because Goldberg basically goes through 5 of his fucking 7 moves that at that point he has mastered, and he doesn't know what else to do in the rest of the match, and it's just fucking Regal carrying him from that point on.
And Regal could fight himself in the ring, and it'd be entertaining as fuck to watch.
Yeah, 100%. William Regal, if that man did not have the substance abuse problems that he had, could have been so much more. It's very unfortunate because so many wrestlers went through substance abuse problems, like Sting, like fucking Shawn Michaels. They still hit upper echelons. William Regal should have been one of those people to hit upper echelons, honestly.
But Kurt Angle was hitting moonsaults on.
I mean, everyone fucking loves Perk Angle. Perk Angle is just a fucking beast of a human. Okay.
I specifically remember that era just because he randomly started doing top rope shit, and you're like, where the fuck did this come from?
It basically came from self-destruction because not only was he on like a major Vicodin and perk addiction, it was also when he was mid his divorce from his wife and Jeff Jarrett was fucking his wife. And so it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, holy hell. Man is going out there and having to have storylines with Jeff Jarrett while the dude is fucking his wife. And so the only thing he can do is fucking nearly OD on Percocets and fucking Vicodin. And he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a beast in the ring. Like, holy shit. On some level, fucking kudos to the man for getting through it. But at this, and also the absurd shit was pulling off. Kudos to him for doing that. But also, like, that man needed help. That man needed to be stopped. He needed to have an intervention, and no one's fucking doing it for that poor man. Also, shout out to his unfortunate retirement match with Baron Corbin. That was a train wreck, and definitely not the person that should have fucking retired Kurt Angle. I would love Kurt Angle to get one more run, if only because Chad Gable should be the one to retire him. I'm sorry. We'll move from wrestling now.
Only thing I'll say is that I was reading up on The Rock being late to everything. He was late to 2 hours to a WWE thing.
Bottles and stuff.
He was 2 hours late to a WWE fan thing, and everyone booed him.
Yeah.
What color piss do you think Dwayne pees?
I think he probably unironically pees like just a hair above like a clear pee. So I have no doubt the man fucking drinks his water, but he probably also has other substances going on in there, let's be honest.
I was gonna go with it was gonna be clear with a slight blue tint to it. I feel like he's on that next level shit.
That's fair.
Unironically, the man is like pushing 60 and has the body he does. That does not happen without other intervention.
Yeah,
like the only person I have seen with that body at that age is basically badass Billy Gunn. He is 60 and fucking looks better than I have ever had in my fucking life.
He's 51. Hey, what's this Dragon Ball sparking?
Wait, what'd you buy?
Oh, no, maybe we started
off
with
the Crocs. Yeah. Guys, did you buy anything?
No, yours is done.
No.
Oh, perfect. All right, we went over the bot things.
What's this Dragon Ball sparking thing?
I don't fucking know. I don't pay attention to it.
It's the new spiritual successor to Tenkaichi,
which is the worst fucking Dragon Ball fighting game series. So I don't care. Should have been Budokai, just straight up. Give us Budokai 4. No, we're gonna go with the shitty ass fucking pseudo arena fighter that gives you a weird fucking split screen mode and you play multiplayer. Fuck that.
All right.
The only reason people like Tenkaichi is just because they artificially inflate the roster sizes because they're like, we're gonna give you every variation of the character. It's like playing like if you were to play like a Marvel or DC fucking fighting game, and it's like, oh, here's 80 iterations of Batman over the years as unique characters, and it's like 2 moves that are different. Get out of here.
That I can kind of see, but what they're doing, it's like Goku Super Saiyan 1, Goku Super Saiyan 2. Like, why is that not like in the game? Like, why are you not like in the game just transforming between them? It's so stupid that it has
because that's how Tenkaichi works.
Yeah. And
here's Kid Gohan, here's Teen Gohan, here's like Gohan that's like hit puberty. Here's like Gohan after he's like forgotten apparently how to use Masenko, but now just uses Kamehameha.
Here's future Gohan. He doesn't have an arm.
Yeah. Also, why the fuck did Gohan suddenly stop using Masenko? That is one thing that bothers me so much about fucking Dragon Ball Z. Gohan legitimately had his at fucking 5 years old. This fucking child had his own signature Hyper Beam attack in the Masenko. Like, fucking think about that for a second. Gohan was a fucking prodigy.
Well, they nerfed Gohan like 3 times throughout the whole series, right? Because during the Cell Saga, he should have like easily been able to take care of anything that came after, but then they nerf him into the ground with the whole high school saga, him dropping training.
Again, it's one of the weirdest fucking things with Toriyama. Fucking rest in peace, that crazy motherfucker. He never believed in Gohan as the successor. And that's what baffles me.
Every kid loved Gohan during the Cell Saga.
Gohan was a monster.
Yes.
Again, Gohan during the Cell Saga, despite being called Teen Gohan, I think he was only like 12 or 11.
Yeah, he was 12.
This fucking 11-year-old is kicking people in half. He was fucking destroying armies of Cell Juniors by himself.
Yep.
Nearly 1v1 perfect fucking Cell. Yeah, Goku kind of came in and did the father-son Kamehameha at the end to kind of save the day, and then blowing up on Planet Kai and all that other bullshit. But, like, still, at the end of the day, fucking Kid Gohan was a monster. And again, at 5 years old, he mastered his own unique ki blast. Goku, Krillin, pretty much all the other fucking orange-suited Z fighters all borrowed Master Roshi's Kamehameha. They all just were like, all right, teach me how to do something. At 5 years old, Gohan was like, I don't know, my strange fucking green dad was like, I'm going to teach you how to be a fucking fighter.
You're gonna become a man.
My green dad taught me how to be a man at 5 years old, and I developed my own technique. Gohan didn't like suddenly use his own version of Special Beam Cannon. He didn't use his own fucking Hell Zone grenade or anything like that. He developed the Masenko himself, used it until he was a teenager, and then suddenly stopped and only ever used the fucking Kamehameha wave. I don't fucking understand that. And again, Toriyama and his weird bullshit of like, no, I can't trust Gohan to be the next generation. The story has to be Goku. But then at the same time, being like, I want to end the story on a weird, fun, silly note because Cell Saga was too serious. So I want to go back to my silly roots with the Buu Saga. So you go back to your silly roots with the Buu Saga, which, yeah, granted, in its own ways, Buu Saga was fantastic. I still think Cell Saga was peak. Unironically, Cell is the best fucking villain in the fucking series. But again, I adore what happened with the Buu Saga. I also adore a lot of the things that came out of the Buu Saga. Buu Saga was the closest we ever got to true character development for Vegeta. Mm-hmm. The whole moment where he fucking goes ahead and just has that fucking conversation with Trunks, and then just fucking finally has that moment where he admits that Goku is better than him. The only thing that would have, man, fucking, you got me on fucking Dragon Ball Z shit. I'm sorry. The only thing, in my opinion, that has been ever missing from fucking Vegeta's character development is for him to call himself king. Vegeta, throughout his entire life, has only ever referred to himself as the Prince of all Saiyans. His father's dead. Basically, all but like 5 Saiyans are fucking dead.
And he thinks all the other ones are lesser than him.
and the only remaining ones, aside from basically at the end of Z, he thinks his lessers other than Goku. The final character arc moment we should have fucking had for Vegeta is him finally owning it. Him finally accepting his father's death, accepting the death of the majority of the Saiyan race, and saying, I, Vegeta, King of the Saiyans, will lead what remains of our fucking people into a new age. That is the one thing we fucking needed. And I get why we didn't get it. Because Toriyama hated Vegeta. Toriyama never wanted Vegeta to come back after the Saiyan saga. But because he was too fucking popular with people, he was forced basically by editorial to bring Vegeta back. So on some level, I get it.
Have you watched Super at all? Are you big into Super?
Yes, I watched through Super.
So that was one thing I really appreciate about Super. I feel like they do give Vegeta a lot more development. I feel like even like between him and Trunks and Bulma, like he gets more humanified, I guess you could say.
Yes,
and,
there's moments.
Yeah, and I like his interactions with the other universe.
Yes.
As well. That was something I really enjoyed because I didn't think they'd go there, and they actually kind of touched on like his trauma and like how he sees himself even when faced up against Saiyans that aren't from directly his planet or his descendants or his lineage. Like he still feels like a loyalty to them.
Yeah, I really appreciate what they did with Vegeta with Universe 6 and like teaching those Saiyans how to go Super Saiyan and like talking his name is escaping me right now, but Universe 6's equivalent to Vegeta.
Yeah.
You know, what it means to be a ruler, what it means to lead your people. I like a lot of those elements. The problem is the Tournament of the Power ruined it.
Yeah.
I fucking loved and hated the Tournament of Power. That fucking arc brought us as many amazing and cool things and a lot of respectful and interesting moments as it did shit on them.
Yeah.
Because for as much as it was cool, like Roshi's whole arc going into fucking the Tournament of Power is hilarious. I loved how the entire training arc for Roshi was everyone going, how do we stop this man from being horny on main? We Roshi did not be horny on main. And then to also have him build up to the sacrifice, recreating what he did to seal Demon King Piccolo, and basically have this person whom we've known as basically immortal up to this point, ready to sacrifice his life. And the really heart-wrenching moment of him reiterating to Krillin and Goku, his star pupils, what it means to be descendants of the hermit school of the turtle. But then also remembering, wait, Super is in between the last couple episodes of Z. Nothing can change from the beginning and ending of Super that brings us to the end of Z. There's literally nothing that can happen to Roshi. And then having that hollow sacrifice and be like, tricked, yeah, it's fine. And it's like, well, yeah, of course it had to be because he's still there at the end of Z. And then again, also reiterating with Vegeta, him facing off with Universe's 10's fucking new God of Destruction. I thought that was honestly a fantastic way to go. Have Vegeta basically start to be an equal parallel to Beerus and have him go down that path where Goku's mastering the art of Ultra Instinct. Vegeta makes perfect sense because, again, that military bred soldier going down the route of fucking destruction. But then how dare you? How fucking dare you bring up his fucking sacrifice to Majin Buu and have him use the final sacrifice technique and just explain the fact that he's still alive at the end of it. I mean, Vegeta during Buu Saga was just bitch made, and so he couldn't survive the attack. You fucking ruined the entire concept and point of that fucking move and that whole speech he gave to Trunks and everything else involved with it. Fuck you. And also, how fucking dare you? How dare you go ahead and bring in Universe 6's Namek? And you have literally this one, like, super Namek who's like, I fuse with every fucking Namek in my universe for this thing. Cool. And then you're gonna have him suddenly use fucking Hellzone Grenade.
Well, he's
and then
literally
your
a
next
Namekian
episode
god.
preview is hyping up the return of Piccolo using Hellzone Grenade. Fucking what? What? Fuck off! I love and hate the Tournament of Power so fucking much. I could rant endlessly about the fucking Tournament of Power. The only thing I'm glad that came out of the Tournament of Power is, again, the enduring, beautiful love between 18 and Krillin, the true best couple in that fucking series. And the fact that it eventually led to us getting Dragon Ball Superhero, where we finally got to have Gohan and fucking Piccolo be the heroes that they are, even though Cell Max was rushed. And again, they kept us with fucking Teen Gotenks. We have still yet to get an official version of Teen Gotenks. We've had Dragon Ball GT. We've had Dragon Ball Super fucking superheroes. The only time we've ever seen fucking Teen Gotenks is in the goddamn fucking MMO in the fucking trading card game. And other than that, we haven't had fucking Teen Gotenks. Fuck you, have we not gotten Teen Gotenks by now?
Yeah, no, they're gonna keep cucking us with Teen Gotenks. I think that's gonna be the gag. That has to be the gag going forward. I don't want it to be, but I know it's going to be.
So Adrian, all of that to say short is that there's like I think they've confirmed there's like 150 some odd characters in this fighting game
Yeah.
roster, and it's just because it's literally like we're taking like the 20 different versions of Goku, and here you go. There's 20 different characters right there. The 20 versions of Goku. Here's the 80 versions of Vegeta. Man, they're all individual characters. So
Yeah,
that's
I was reading about how let's see, where did I see this at?
You read a dissertation, read a few essays.
he literally read the entirety of the original Dragon Ball and the amount of time I spent reading.
No, because The Rock keeps his productions up to 8 hours. Crew members working on Johnson Productions tend to make their guild minimums to qualify for health insurance. One crew member on Ballers spoke and said because of the 14-hour plus workday on location where he did not come out of his trailer to come to set until after 3 p.m. on a 7 a.m. call, I qualified for health insurance. So,
Oh, good guy Rock. That's all he's doing. He's
Yes,
just trying
sir.
to waste everyone's time to get the man's dollar.
absolutely.
Hell
Fair
yeah.
enough.
He's
Mm,
telling everyone, "Hey, go shit on the clock, bro."
there you
I
go.
do that.
Yeah.
If
oh,
you're
yeah,
not shitting on the clock, you're having money stolen from you.
Yep, you're not working, bud.
Granted, I'm salary, so I'm always shitting on the clock, but
I clock in for my lunch before I go shit.
Good.
you're not gonna believe this, but I actually almost was turned down for a promotion once because I peed too much during work hours. Unironically, that was one of the reasons they gave is I took too many pee breaks.
Ah, man.
Smart. All right. I think that's and we don't have news this week.
There's a couple things I want to talk about real quick. That is
Real
news.
quick.
I mean, real quick. One, Square Enix, congratulate.
Oh, lost you
This
for a
man
second.
was committed to making this ending real quick.
Yeah, my computer did not want you to actually keep going. Continue.
Shout out to Square Enix for flushing $22.1 billion in yen, which I think is like 1 point like something million dollars in real money, down the toilet because the new president that took over a year ago is committed to just being like, no, we're not wasting our time with shit projects. So yeah, they haven't confirmed what games have been canceled. My genuine only fear from this is the fact that the 2 games from the NVIDIA leak that we're still waiting to see, the Final Fantasy IX Remake and the Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster, I am fearful that one and or both of those may have been on that chopping block. Especially where we still haven't seen the Final Fantasy IX anime, which was supposed to be revealed last year. It was at like a French film festival where they showed it off, but we were supposed to by now have at least like the first episode of the Final Fantasy IX anime, and we still haven't seen that. So I'm kind of worried about that because again, ask me a different day, you'll get a different answer. But it always goes between 9 and Tactics being my favorite Final Fantasy. So you're tickling my balls here, telling me that there's an anime on Final Fantasy IX and a remake on Final Fantasy IX, and now you're telling me that $22 billion in fucking Monopoly money has been flushed down the toilet on projects you've decided to just outright cancel? Yeah, I'm a little fucking worried on that.
Fair.
Uh,
I gotta interrupt. Kels, I was gonna do the Evo stuff. What games you sign up for?
I just planned on really doing Tekken.
Okay.
hell yeah.
And then what pass did you get? 3-day pass?
I haven't yet. That's gonna be my next paycheck. But yeah, I planned on doing just the 3-day because I like, knock on wood, like if I do good or something, make it to the second day, I don't want to be kind of like fucked out of it, you know.
Sure.
And I felt like going to like grand finals or something would be really cool, depending on what day it is, you know.
So 3 days. Well, the
Yeah.
finals day is always fun to watch, regardless.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right. I was thinking about what I was gonna do on that. I just have to convince the partner that a full day of fighting games is gonna be fun. She has no idea what's going on, but she's there for it.
Yeah,
Evo is
Yeah,
always
that's-
fucking hype.
that's how my wife is. It's not her scene, but she's there to sport, have fun, and I mean it's Vegas. We'll find some shit to do. I didn't plan on being there like all day, you know.
This is fair. All right, David, continue.
Also, real quick on the subject of Evo, Evo Japan has happened.
Yeah, we
Fucking
didn't-
shout outs. We are eating good fucking Guilty Gear Bros. Slayer was fucking revealed, and the man is the dandiest he has ever fucking been. God damn, Slayer got a fucking glow up for this game, and fucking hell, his track is an absolute banger. So fucking excited to see Slayer and Strive. I see a lot of people bitching, and I get it. Slayer and XX and Slayer and fucking Xrd was a bitch, but I don't give a fuck. I love Slayer. He's just always a fun person to see. That is a man that loves his wife, and we need more men that love their wives representation fighting games.
Wife guys, yeah.
Exactly. Because, I mean, other than like, honestly, Street Fighter is probably the one series that has the most representation for men that loves their wives. Ken, Guile, fucking, what was the fucking fighter from Turkey there? Hakan. That was a man that fucking loved his wife, and I loved his wife from what we saw of her. You know, there's Street Fighter has a lot of men that love their wives. And the rest of the fighting games franchises out there need to get caught up on that.
Kazuya loves Nina. What are you talking about?
No. He loves shoes.
All right. Anything else, David?
Yes. Aside from those two things, we also had the Xbox Indie Showcase yesterday.
Wait, speaking of Evo, before we move past it,
Yeah.
there's a certain Prime Minister of Poland that made an appearance.
Yes, I forgot about that. Lydia has returned.
Yeah.
Totally not looking like just the better version of fucking Nina Williams.
I don't know what
Like Nina Williams at this point looks like we have Nina Williams at home versus Lydia's reveal. God damn.
I don't know what I want to play for because at this point I've put a fuck ton of hours into Street Fighter. I've not touched Tekken almost at all, so I might just go for Street Fighter. I haven't played Street Fighter in a hot minute.
Go for both.
For whatever reason, I loaded up this like right before the podcast. I was like, look into it. I don't know why I was ready to just play for Smash. I just forgot. I was like, oh yeah, Smash isn't here anymore.
Just go for it. Eddie just came out. Go for it.
I gotta play some more.
And,
Everybody asked, did y'all see some of the showcase for Hades 2? I have not, but I'm excited.
No.
That looks cool.
I
saw
for
it being
the
played
testing for
Hades,
it too, so I'm kind of hoping I get in. It looks sick.
Aside from that, I feel like there was like one. Oh yeah, so the Xbox Indie Showcase happened. Once again, no Silk Song. We're never gonna get Silk Song. That game is a meme now, as far as I'm concerned. But there were a couple games that looked kind of interesting. Interestingly, Pixel Junk has a new game that was showcased at the Xbox show, which is fucking wild. Anyone that is a PS3 fan, especially, seeing Pixel Junk show up at an Xbox event, fucking weird. It's a cute little kind of puzzle co-op game for 4 players. Looked kind of neat. But not a lot of like groundbreaking shit, but there were a couple games that looked fun at that conference. I feel like there was like one other thing that's escaping my brain right now. Just gonna check my Twitter real quick. If it was worthwhile, it would be in there. Vince McMahon sold all of his shares finally for what remained of his stock in WWE, but that's not relevant to games. Yeah, I think that was it. I think that's all I had for game news at that point. Wait, when did that bit of news come out? Yeah, it would have already been past that.
My piece to say would be Tarkov. They've kind of
They
imploded
fucked
their
everything.
community. Yeah, they've imploded their game community, kind of like set everything on fire, and now they've kind of came back with buckets and kind of like, okay, guys, we're ready to fix things.
Oh wait, what they repair with?
So
Actually,
pretty
real
much-
quick, David, you've not heard anything about this, I'm sure.
I've tangentially heard because the Ready or Not community has been like fucking combusting as well, and a lot of people in the community have been comparing it to what's been going on at Tarkov. So
You want to give a spiel real quick on the what's going on with Tarkov?
Yeah, so pretty much the short bit of it is, so Tarkov is a game that's been in early access for about 7 years now.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. I think it launched in 2017. I started playing about 2018.
My coworker
So
had like one of my first coworkers. He's not there anymore, but talking about Tarkov, we're talking about all the time. I'm like, "Is that game I should play?" He's like, "No, no one should play Tarkov." Literally, would never suggest that game to any single person ever.
It
it's
was a spiritual successor to like another kind of like survival shooter, right? I can't remember the name of it, but like there's a game a buddy of mine's been trying to get me to play, but like a very realistic tactical shooter. To where like you have to manage like your magazine weight and shit like that.
yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's exactly what Tarkov is. It's a realistic like military sim, but extraction looter shooter is the genre.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's been in early access, kind of like a beta period for this past 7 years, and so they've initially started out selling numerous different editions of the game. So there's like a standard, there's a few different levels. I don't remember all of them, but the standard I think was like 30, $40. Then all the way up to there was a copy called the Edge of Darkness edition. The Edge of Darkness edition was $150. That was the top of the line one. So each edition would do what's called, they'd give you increased stash space. So whenever you're looting shit, you come back, your stash is bigger, you can store more shit, you can go loot more shit, bring it back, sell more shit, you know? So in game, there's ways to upgrade your stash, but you could just buy the bigger edition, get bigger stash, bing bang boom, you circumvent a lot, pay to win. EOD gave you that on top of gives you a bunch of starter equipment because Tarkov right now has what's called wipes. So every time there's
Mm.
like a big update they're about to start, they wipe everything back to ground one. You have nothing. It just boots you back to whatever your edition that you bought would have you with for your base inventory. So EOD, the Edge of Darkness most expensive edition, it had a promise along with it. It said any future DLC you would be entitled to. You get it for free. You don't have to pay anything extra. There would be battle passes later or like seasonal like extra content that you would have to pay for, like microtransactions, but any DLC that further the game you wouldn't.
That's fair.
So
All right.
so fast forward to last week sometime. So Edge of Darkness with a few months ago was taken off. Like you couldn't buy that anymore. It was no longer available. So just this last week, they announced a new edition that's $250. It's called the Unheard Edition. So the Unheard Edition comes with more stuff on top of the Edge of Darkness, and on top of that, it's coming with a whole new game mode, which is essentially an offline PVE. So it's no
Which
Tarkov
they've
is
been against
essentially
apparently, right?
they have, but they've loosened on it. But the thing is, that's DLC, offline PVE, to be able to just play like
Hmm.
offline by yourself. But they're locking it to this new $250
But it's
bundle.
fine. Everyone gets that, right?
No, only that bundle gets it. You can buy it separately, but they already promised the EOD owners that they would get it for free. But now they're saying no, you have to pay for it separately. This isn't extra DLC. This is an extra game mode. Or
Fucking hell.
they found a stupid ass way to try to rationalize it, and everyone's saying no, fuck you. That's not what that means. You're
Hmm.
trying to nickel and dime us now. And a lot of creators have come out and they're like, we'll pay for clothing, we'll pay for like the camos or whatever, but you're trying to like charge us an extra $100 for an edition for access to stuff that we should already have access
Which
to.
wasn't their
You're
caveat was that it said only season pass DLC would be free.
Well, their whole thing is they're trying to say that at 1. Or at 1.0 launch is whenever is what we meant by free DLC. Anything after 1.0. Before then, we're not considering it DLC.
Right.
But the caveat is just a few months ago they released what's called Tarkov Arena, which is pretty much it's pretty much Tarkov but CS:GO format. You go plant a bomb. It's a team versus a team. So it's taken out all the PvE aspects, all the looter shooter. It's just a FPS milsim game.
Hmm.
So the thing is, this was a separate purchase, so it was a DLC. But Edge of Darkness Edition owners got it for free. So they already set the precedent of separate DLC being sold, but also being for free for these people.
Hmm.
I don't know how my light just turned on. That
Hell
was
yeah.
weird.
They were trying to get rid of you.
It's illuminating your
Oh
frustrations.
God, the Russians heard me talking shit on their game.
Get 'em, boys.
So they've already set a precedent with the DLC, and now they're kind of backfooting it. But on top of that, they've been so after they announced that, well, there's also additional perks with it that make the new edition extremely pay to win because it's not stuff that you can even get through missions or any other way with the other editions. So everyone's been calling them out on it and saying, "Hey, this is dumb. Don't do this. What are you doing? This is not going to be good." And they've essentially like doubled and tripled down on it. They're like, "No, we know what we're doing. No, we're not. We're doing it this way." And there's a leaked interview that I guess it was really weird. So Nikita, the lead dev guy who oversees it, because this isn't like an indie studio
Yeah.
that blew up from all the support, like Alarian. And he pretty much, in this leaked interview, they asked him, like, hey, are you regretting this? Like, do you think you might revert it or anything? He's just like, no, we're not doing anything wrong. We know what we're doing. This is all part of the plan.
God's
And
plan.
supposedly this, yeah, God's plan. And supposedly this interview was supposed to be edited and shit like that trimmed out, but someone got a hold of it. It got out.
Jesus
So,
hell.
yeah, so fast forward now, Nikita, the lead dev, he's trying to. They're slowly starting to roll it back a little bit. They're like, okay, now these EOD owners, you'll get 6 months of access to these game modes, but then you'll have to pay afterwards. And they're trying to make these little concessions, walking it back. And it's like this isn't what we want. You're not listening to us, old man. How many
Unheard
times
of
do we have to
edition.
teach you this lesson? Yeah, you're completely unheard. So pretty much they've for some reason kicked the ant pile and they're just very bullheadedly like sinking their ship for no fucking reason. Like I don't understand it.
Jesus Christ.
It's very
Uh,
blatant.
Also, I have to double check because my friend that keeps recommending me the series that this is a spiritual successor to is Stalker.
Oh, yeah, I
So,
can see that.
so if you want this experience but not done by a shitty game company, go check out the original Stalker series. I remember she did recommend that when she kept trying to recommend me play the games, to play them with certain fan mods because there are certain mods that make it just a little bit more bearable without ruining the spirit of it. So I do remember her saying that like original Stalker is like stupid fucking like hyper realistic in the sense of like, okay, you have a backpack. That backpack can only carry a certain amount of weight before it tears. All your magazines, every bullet in the magazine, like everything equates to the weight. There's like size dimensions you have to keep track of. So I remember saying that like there were some mods that take out some of the pedanticness of it and make it more like a Resident Evil style inventory system where it balances out the realism of like I'm carrying only so much within this space, but I'm not having to track the actual fucking weight of my bullets. So would recommend
Is Stalker getting
you know,
re-released?
just
Yes.
Nice. So
I don't
Stalker.
think
There you go.
I don't think it's like a full like remaster or anything like that, but yeah, it's getting really re-released.
Okay.
And Stalker 2, I think is they're on track for like coming up here soon, right?
yeah.
But yeah, that's it on EFT or Escape from Tarkov. But on top of that, there's been two other games that have popped up. They're almost essentially that same exact like spot in like the zeitgeist, that extraction shooter, realistic, that have kind of popped up. And it was funny, like one of them like made a post like kind of like throwing shade at Tarkov, like, oh, hey, people escaping from Tarkov, come over here and enter into the beta testing. The official Tarkov Twitter went and retweeted it and was talking shit. They're like, okay, once you have your fun 20 minutes in the blatant plagiarist game, blah blah, and like they're, and it was like the actual Twitter like like saying this shit. You're like, oh my god,
Yikes.
this is getting under their skin a little bit. So there've been a few different games that have kind of like popped up with all this controversy, and they've been getting like a lot of following thanks to Tarkov tripping up.
Nice. All right. I think that's it now. I wrap up. My cough is getting terrible. All right.
Hell yeah.
Yep. 3 hours. I'd say we did all right in the trying to get video games
Yeah, a
talked
little
about.
chit-chat.
Yeah.
We talked about what we got, we didn't talk about what we played, but there's always time for next week.
Exactly. All right.
Be more interesting than rat beef video games. Come on.
Hey,
It's
hey,
true. I'm actually quite interested, so I'll be
I gave
curious
you.
to see.
You saw that, David? I gave you the whole rundown.
Yeah,
There you go. You got.
I'll go through that at some point soon.
You got the. We want to hear
Before
your
the next
reactions next week.
podcast.
Next week we want to hear your
Yeah.
reactions. You gotta tell us who you think is winning it. J. Cole's like obviously
right.
losing.
My next podcast, I will have my thoughts on it. Promised.
You know what's gonna be unfortunate for you, David?
The fact that I'm still only gonna have surface level knowledge of what the fuck is going on.
No, is that Kels and I could do a live blue repeats before you can.
It's true.
Oh, that's true.
Sorry. Could have been there, David.
Sad day.
That roof of yours.
I know that roof sent me back quite a bit, and it's fine. I won't really have a vacation this year anyways. Too much shit is on fire in the tech world, so
Good luck. All right, the recording is done on that. Hey, everybody, pot calling the kettle black for Tarkov, I think.
what a racist statement to make.
Yeah, Mr. Snake Eyes. I'm gonna go back and listen to that part of the podcast. Like, it's not bad at all. You're gonna hear me go.
Record
Have you heard this song
So
called
you're
Snake
wondering
Eyes,
how I
David?
got here.
Nope. All right, April Ray, shout outs to you for hanging out the entire chat.
Thanks for hanging.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.